지치지 않는 청춘과 열정, 젊음을 대표하는 에너지 드링크 아식스와 퍼포먼스로 앞서가다 LG 울트라 기어가 함께합니다. ASL 시즌12 대망의 결승전에 프리뷰로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 이현경입니다. 자, 정말 치열하고 예측 불허의 경기들이 연이어 펼쳐졌던 이번 ASL 시즌12. 이 본인의 실력을 증명하기 위한 두 선수가 생애 첫 우승에 도전하고 있습니다. 과연 어떤 선수가 우승을 차지하게 될지 많은 분들이 기대하고 계시는데요. 오늘 경기 승리하면서 우승을 차지하게 된다면 ASL 8번째 우승자로서 이름을 올리게 됩니다. 자, 3번의 결승 무대 그리고 2시즌 연속 결승 무대를 밟았지만 아직까지 단 한 번도 트로피를 들어올리지 못했던 변현재 선수, 그리고 24강, 16강에 머무르던 선수가 아닌 이제 당당히 트로피 앞에 모습을 드러낸 유영진 선수. 이 두 선수 어떤 발자취를 거쳐 이번 무대까지 올라오게 됐는지 지금부터 살펴보겠습니다. 자, 먼저 ASL 최초로 2시즌 연속 결승 무대에 오른 변현재 선수입니다. 16강에서 배병우 선수에게 승리를 당할 뻔했지만 배병우 선수에게 위기를 맞으며 일격을 당했습니다. 하지만 이어진 경기에서 정영재 선수와 배병우 선수를 2대0으로 무찌르고 8강에 올랐습니다. 이 8강에서는 김지성 선수를 상대로 완벽한 판짜기를 보여주면서 3대0으로 승리를 거두고 7연승으로 파죽지세의 기세를 보여주면서 4강에 올랐는데요. 이 4강에서는 지난 시즌의 리턴 매치가 성사됐습니다. 바로 김명훈 선수와의 대진이 성사됐는데요. 지난 시즌과 세트 스코어까지 동일한 4대1로 승리를 거두면서 2시즌 연속 결승 무대에 오르는 프로토스가 됐습니다. 자, 계속해서 유영진 선수의 이번 시즌 발자취는 어땠는지 확인해 보겠습니다. 이번 시즌 역시 와일드카드부터 시작한 유영진 선수였습니다. 장윤철, 도재욱, 네로라는 프로토스 선수를 상대로 승리를 거두고 이번 시즌 역시 시드를 획득하면서 16강에 진출했는데요. 이 16강에서 황병영 선수에게 승리를 거뒀지만 이어진 승자전에서 김민철 선수에게 패배를 거뒀습니다. 자, 이어진 최종전에서 다시 한번 황병영 선수를 상대로 승리를 거두면서 3시즌 연속 8강에 올랐습니다. 자, 이어진 8강 상대는 이 저그 중 최강자 중 한 명인 박상현 선수였는데요. 박상현 선수가 준비한 전략적 플레이를 완벽하게 받아치면서 3대1로 승리를 거뒀습니다. 이어진 4강 경기 조일장 선수를 상대로도 4대1로 승리를 거두면서 생애 첫 결승 무대를 밟게 됐습니다. 자, 이어서 두 선수가 우승을 차지하게 된다면 어떤 기록들이 만들어지게 될까요? 먼저 변현재 선수입니다. 이 3번의 도전 끝에 만약 오늘 경기 승리하게 된다면 생애 첫 우승을 들어 올리게 됩니다. 자, 그리고 프로토스는 ASL 시즌5 이후 7번째 시즌 만에 우승자를 배출해내게 됩니다. 자, 그리고 3번째 프로토스 우승자로서 이름을 올릴 수 있습니다. 자, 이번에는 유영진 선수가 우승을 차지하게 된다면 어떤 기록들이 만들어지게 될까요? 자, 유영진 선수 역시 생애 처음으로 우승 트로피를 들어 올릴 수 있습니다. 테란은 ASL 시즌 8 이후 4시즌 만에 우승자를 배출해내게 되고요. 역시 3번째 테란 우승자로서 이름을 올릴 수 있게 됩니다. 자, 두 선수 중 어떤 선수가 우승을 차지하든 생애 첫 우승을 차지하게 되는데요. 어떤 선수가 생애 첫 우승 트로피를 들어 올릴지도 굉장히 기대되는 오늘의 무대입니다. 자, 이번에는 양 선수의 결승전을 지켜보시는 시청자 여러분들의 승부 예측까지 살펴보겠습니다. 방금 전 저녁 6시까지 시청자 여러분들의 승부 예측 투표를 받았는데요. 투표 결과 67%의 팬 여러분들이 변현재 선수의 우승을 예상하고 계셨습니다. 과연 변현재 선수가 프로토스의 계절 이 가을에 힘을 받아서 우승 트로피를 들어 올리게 될지, 아니면 유영진 선수가 이번 시즌을 통해 커리어 하이 정점을 찍어내게 될지도 굉장히 기대되고 있습니다. 자, 마지막으로 이번 시즌 함께했던 선수들은 오늘 결승전 경기 어떻게 예상하고 있을지도 확인해 보겠습니다. 자, 결승전에 진출한 두 선수를 제외한 16강에 진출한 14명의 선수들에게 설문해 봤는데요. 이 설문 결과 11명의 선수들이 변현재 선수의 우승을 예상하고 있었습니다. 이 예상대로 변현재 선수가 생애 첫 우승을 차지하게 될지, 아니면 유영진 선수가 많은 선수들의 예상을 뒤엎을지도 지켜봐야겠습니다. 자, 오늘 이 경기를 통해서 새로운 ASL의 우승자가 탄생하기 때문에 온라인으로 시청하고 계시는 시청자 여러분, 그리고 현장을 찾으신 관람객 여러분들도 많은 기대를 모으고 있습니다. 이 과연 변현재 선수가 프로토스의 계절 가을의 전설을 새롭게 써내려 가게 될지, 아니면 유영진 선수가 가장의 힘을 보여주면서 생애 첫 우승 트로피를 이 자리에서 들어 올리게 될지, ASL 시즌12 변현재 선수와 유영진 선수의 결코 물러설 수 없는 대망의 결승전 경기를 지금부터 시작합니다.
역대권자 변현재 선수가 강력한 A조를 만들었어요.
마인 질럿이 삼각 캐논 편대 만들어 놓고
반짝이 올다크입니다. 올다크 취재. 지난 시즌에 이어서 이 두 선수가 지금 4강전
정말 완벽한
네.
하드코어 질럿 러시가
이거 뚫어버리나요? 다크.
내가 무조건 이긴다. 전설에게 승자 가을에는 역시
미니
기회마저도 유영기 놓치게 되면 이번 시즌 여기까지.
유영진 선수는 8강에 올라오기 위해서 그토록 노력을 많이 했었는데
테란의 마지막 희망 유영진 선수의 도전 또 활약으로 밀어버리나요?
점사당해요.
생애 첫 4강
너무
에그를 그냥 부셔버렸거든요.
버티나요
준비 됐습니다.
스플래시까지 드랍시
대박이야.
와 10년간의 노력 끝에 결승 진출.
러쉬
ASL 시즌12 대만 결승전 대결 생애 최초로 우승 트로피를 들어올릴 선수가 누가 될 것인지 이 두 선수의 대결이 기다리고 있습니다. 단 한 번도 우승을 차지하지 못한 이 두 선수들이 12년, 13년 만에 우승 트로피에 도전장을 내밉니다. 오늘 관객 여러분들 모시고 이 무대에서 결승전을 준비하고 있는 선수들과 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 변현재 선수.
네.
준우승 이번 경기 지면 또 준우승 준 최대 위기 순간입니다. 가장 먼저 스포트라이트를 받았고 많은 관심을 받았고 프로토스계에서 변현재 선수의 그 레전드 기술 빛을 발하는 그 기술이 우승 트로피까지 뚫지 못했어요. 하지만 오늘 상대는 유영진 선수와의 그 대결 오늘 세 번째 결승 진출입니다. 2연속 준우승 차지했고요. 이번 경기에서는 우승을 차지할 수 있을 것 같으세요? 어떠세요?
네, 일단은 상대가 이제 처음 결승을 올라온 거다 보니 분명히 긴장을 저보다 더 많이 할 수밖에 없거든요. 그래가지고 이번에는 좀 더 자신 있는 것 같아요.
오! 결승 무대 그 압박감, 경험을 단 한 번도 하지 못한 선수들은 이 무게를 이기지 못하고 스스로 무너진다. 경험을 통해서 깨달았고, 오늘 유영진 선수의 표정과 최근의 그 분위기를 봤을 때는 어떤 생각 드세요?
이제 최근 기세가 좀 많이 좋더라고요.
음.
근데 아직 기세가 좀 많이 오르기 전인 것 같거든요.
오!
제가 생각할 때는. 그래가지고 지금 오르기 전에 이제 제가 확 꺾어야 될 것 같아요.
와, 그 이야기로는 이번에 올라온 뭐 4강, 8강 멤버 중에서 유영진 선수가 결승 올라올 것 단 한 번도 생각 못했다. 한 번도.
저도 처음에는 결승까지 올 거라고 생각을 못했었거든요.
와!
근데 이제 조금 계속 잘해지더라고요.
네.
그래가지고 와, 기세가 무섭다라고 생각했는데
오!
아직 그 정도까지는 아닌 것 같아요.
야! 유영진 선수가 산전수전 다 겪으면서 2009년 드래프트 되고 여기서 올라온 데까지 걸린 시간이 다른 선수들 몇 년 만에 결승 올라오고 하는데 유영진 13년 만에 결승 무대 올라왔습니다.
네.
올라와서 보니까 결승 무대는 힘들다. 여기서 유영진 선수 어울리는 자리가 아니다라는 이야기가 지금 나오고 있어요. 어떠세요?
이겨내야죠. 저는 자신 있습니다 오늘.
오! 어떤 부분에 있어서?
그냥 모든 면이 자신이 있어요. 저는 지금 긴장도 안 되고
오!
게임도 세팅도 나쁘지 않고
네.
준비도 많이 해왔고 자신 있습니다.
그럼 유영진 선수가 생각하는 프로토스 변현재, 이 변현재 선수가 가지고 있는 그런 슈퍼 스킬들 있잖아요. 레전드 기술.
네.
네, 그 부분에서 뭐 두려움 자체가 아예 없어요.
초반에 좀 귀찮긴 한데
오!
그걸 좀 넘기면은
와!
그렇게 무섭진 않아요.
그럼 여름에
예.
과일 먹을 때 나오는 날파리처럼 초반에 잡으면
네.
두려움이 아예 없다.
예, 초장에 휘어 잡아야죠.
와! 변현재, 날파리 초반만 잡아내면 사실 결승 무대에서는 유영진 선수의 우승이 확실시. 어떠세요? 그 레전드 기술이 날파리 취급받았습니다.
근데 그 대부분의 선수가 그렇잖아요. 이제
네.
저희 초반만 막으면 이긴다고 하는데
오!
그 대부분의 선수가 초반을 견뎌낸 사람이 거의 없거든요.
와!
그래가지고 영진이 형도 뭐 똑같지 않나.
야! 날파리 컷! 날 컷!
그거는 저그 한정이죠.
저그 한정이다.
예, 테란전은 그렇게 안 세요 현재가.
그럼 변현재 저그는 원툴. 테란전에서는 약하다.
근데 영진이 형도 초반에 그렇게 잘하는 선수가 아니거든요.
오!
그래가지고 이제 좀 가면 갈수록 이제 좀 잘하는 선수라고 생각을 해가지고
네.
아마도 초반에 끝낼 수 있지 않을까 싶어요.
아직은 때가 아니고 이제 초반에 끝낼 수 있다는 강한 자신감이 있는데, 그럼 유영진 선수가 생각하는 프로토스 ASL 내에서 변현재 선수는 어떤 선수입니까?
준우승 3번 할 선수?
야! 준우승 3번째 준준준
예.
3연준.
네.
그럼 유영진은 처음 결승 올라와서 처음에 바로 우승.
그게 낫죠.
와! 지금 유영진 선수가 3연전 축하를 말해왔어요. 한 말씀 마지막으로 유영진 선수에게 해주시죠.
근데 처음 결승 올라오면 준우승이 딱이거든요.
야!
제가 이제 경험이 좀 많다 보니 그 경험을 토대로 확실히
네.
이기겠습니다.
처음 올라오면 준우승이 딱이다. 첫 준 딱. 여기서 마지막으로 변현재 선수에게 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
처음 올라오면 준우승보다 준준준이 낫지 않나요?
야!
만들겠습니다. 준준준으로.
알겠습니다. 과연 연속 준우승자가 나오게 될지 아니면 최초의 우승자가 나오게 될지 오프라인 엑스 여러분의 뜨거운 박수로 결승전 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
연속 결승을 진출할 거라고는 상상도 못했는데 이번 시즌은 다전제가 생각보다 힘들 거라고 했거든요.
솔직히 내가 다시 이제 스타를 하게 되면은 우승할 수 있을 것 같은데? 라는 생각으로 대국민 스타리그를 참여를 했어요. 근데 그 길이 생각보다 너무 힘들더라고요. 지금은 거의 다 온 것 같아가지고 한 걸음만 더 가면 우승이니까.
솔직히 실력에는 자신이 있었거든요. 다전제만 가면 약간 자신 있다라고 팬분들한테 많이 얘기를 했는데 실력에 자신이 있으니까 좀 결승에 오지 않았나 싶어요.
조가 너무 힘들다. 이거는 올라가기 힘들겠다라는 생각을 하면서 대회장을 와요, 솔직히. 근데 또 막상 하다 보면은 좀 잘 풀리더라고요. 이번 연도도 대회에서 성적이 좀 되게 준수했어요. 그래서 대진만 좀 잘 나오면은 좀 좋은 성적 낼 수 있겠다는 생각을 했죠.
지난 시즌에 이제 4강이랑 결승에서 같은 종족전을 하면 엄청 힘들더라고요. 영진이 형을 만나는 게 좀 좋은 것 같고
적당히 잘하고 적당히 제가 이길 수 있는 느낌인데
영진이 형이 좀 제일 열심히 연습하는 선수라고 생각을 해요. 좀 가면 갈수록 더 잘해지는 것도 좀 당연한 것 같고 무섭게 성장할 것 같은 선수예요.
이번에 결승 올라가면서 커뮤니티 사이트를 보는데 연습을 한 그 게임이 저 혼자 판수가 한 12,000판 되더라고요. 한 10,000판 정도 했을 때 그때부터 그냥 실력이 올라온 것 같아요.
아직 성장을 완벽하게 한 게 아니라서 이제 지금 기세를 제가 좀 눌러줘야 될 것 같아요. 지금까지 준우승만 해와가지고 그 준우승이 우승이었으면 최고의 선수지 않을까라는 생각을 항상 하고 있었거든요. 준우승을 하는 동안 이제 다전제를 좀 많이 하다 보니 노하우도 좀 알게 됐고 경기를 준비하는 데는 조금 더 수월한 것 같아요.
변현재 선수가 또 멘탈이 한번 자기가 생각대로 안 풀리면은 좀 확 무너지더라고요. 결승 경험도 중요하긴 한데 준우승을 3번 하면 또 그것만큼 좀 트라우마일 것 같아요. 10분까지만 무난하게 가면은 제가 유리하게 갈 수 있는 그런 선수.
일단 영진이 형 스타일은 특별히 약간 변수를 두는 스타일도 아니고 테란 중에 그냥 제일 무난한 것 같아요.
근데 예전에 명훈이 형이 이런 식으로 인터뷰를 했었거든요. 뭐 15분까지 버티면 이긴다. 뭐는 지더라고요, 못 버티고. 철저히 준비를 해야 될 것 같아요.
저는 일단 테란전이 이제 물량 싸움보다는 치사하게 하는 스타일인 것 같아요. 상대의 일꾼을 죽이는 걸 좋아하고 정면 싸움보다는 좀 뒷방을 좋아한다라고 해야 되나? 제가 변칙적으로 하는 걸 좋아하다 보니 저를 만나면 좀 힘들지 않을까 생각을 하고 있어요.
저를 굉장히 기분 나쁘게 해요. 유튜브도 보면 아시겠지만 절반 정도 제 얼굴이 들어가 있거든요. 항상 제가 고통을 받는 그런 장면들이 많은데 이번에 제가 한번 이겨가지고 이미지를 바꿔야 될 것 같아요. 제가 한 ASL 3 정도, 4 정도 그때부터 이제 ASL 챔프 러시 아이디를 썼었는데 그때 당시에는 우승한다 이러면은 그냥 사람들이 비웃었어요. 저는 근데 진짜로 우승하겠다는 마음가짐으로 사용했는데 근데 지금은 이제 할 수 있다는 생각 들죠.
신맵들이 제가 좀 원하는 스타일의 맵이 아니라 가지고 좀 힘들 거라고 생각을 했는데 제가 준비를 너무 잘했던 것 같고 이제 경기장에서도 좀 경기가 잘 풀렸던 것 같아요. 운도 좋고 빌드도 잘 먹힌 것 같고
지금 테란으로서 제가 아마 3시즌 연속으로 성적이 가장 좋은 걸로 알고 있어요. 시즌 9 이후로 테란이 성적을 확 잘 내는 선수가 없었잖아요. 제가 우승 한번 해가지고 테란 중에서 그래도 내가 제일 잘한다 뭐 이런 평가를 받고 싶네요.
영진이 형 처음 결승 갔을 때는 준우승 하는 거야. 다음 시즌 열심히 해.
현재야 찢어줄게.
프로토스의 계절이라고 가을이라서 그런지 모르겠지만 응원하는 팬들이 좀 많은 것 같아요. 오랜만에 관중분들이 오시는데 제가 이번에 우승을 해서 꼭 가을은 프로토스의 계절이라는 걸 보여드리고 싶습니다.
제가 이번 시즌 시작할 때쯤에 딸이 이제 탄생을 했어요. 하루가 태어났는데 실망스럽지 않은 그런 경기력 좀 최선을 다해서 연습해가지고 좋은 경기력 보여드리겠습니다. 아빠가 트로피 들고 갈게. 기다리고 있어.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the ASL Season 12 finals. I couldn't be more excited. Tastosis, how are you feeling, man?
Dude, I like you. This is the most exciting thing. I think that this is one of our very even finals, one of our most even finals that we've had.
Yeah.
Really hard to predict Very exciting. A couple of players. We're going to have a completely new champion, which is fantastic because we do have so many repeats that keep popping up. But I'm stoked, man. I think we're going to see the best of Protoss versus Terran and the best of Terran versus Protoss.
I couldn't agree more. Before we get started in our finals, we just want to give a special shout out to our supporters on Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. If you do love what we're doing and our support for StarCraft, you can support us on that Patreon and also get access to our secret podcast.
That's right. Have a lot of fun with that. And, of course, ASL has been so good this season. Let's take a look at that bracket that got us up here. The same top four as last season. Well, Rush was added in, but he literally took Larva's spot. We had the same third place in Hero, the same fourth place in Queen. And if Mini finishes second, the same second place in Mini. But I don't think it's going to be very easy here on Rush. It's been quite a season, Tastosis, with Mini being the only Protoss that made it into the round of 8, and now here in the finals the second season in a row.
You know, with Flash not being here, I think some people did worry that maybe this ASL would not be as special, as epic, and I'm happy to say that it's not the case at all. This has been an amazing ASL with incredibly high-quality games. I think Mini is reaching new levels of Protoss we haven't really seen anybody get close to. Maybe Rain for a shorter period of time, maybe Snow, but only in PvT. But I think Mini has now leveled up in an entirely new way.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that Mini is taking on a lot of the traits and qualities that Bisu had when he was the best Protoss in the world. And I'm excited to see what he'll bring out here tonight. Because we already know his Protoss versus Zerg is second to none. He is like head and shoulders above every other Protoss in the world at that right now. Is his Protoss versus Terran going to look the same?
That's the question. And this is going to have a very modern look to it here. You know, a lot of the dominance from Terran has been obviously Flash, who's just, been around forever, but also Light, who's had a bit of an older style. And Rush is really coming into this with a lot of very unique innovations on the Terran race in general. He does seem to have a very different idea when it comes to the type of timings the Terran could come with. He's very good at boxing back a Protoss player in a matchup where usually Protoss tends to dictate map control. We've seen Rush with some very creative strategies. But, seeing how many planned to get this far is what I'm most curious about, because he did some builds that really you can only do once, when we saw what he did to Queen. And obviously there's so many different ways to open up as a Protoss versus a Terran, whether you go proxy, gateway, you're stealing gas. You can go for a very mid-range build, getting a Dragoon or two before you expand. You can go Nexus first. There's so many different ways to approach this, and I think Mini's going to show us a pretty insane array of build orders here tonight.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot at his disposal, and I've been wondering to myself how he's going to prepare for this, because Rush has a very different style than anyone has basically ever had in this matchup. I've been thinking, honestly, for like a whole week, like how do I explain Rush's style? And the best that I've come up with, Tasteless, because I watch a lot of Rush Terran versus Protoss, is he is a mix between Flash and Sharp. He is very Vulture oriented like Sharp, but better mechanics. He has better just kind of overall sense of macroing up into a big game like Flash, right? So I think you can look at him as like not completely as complete as Flash, but more aggressive with a lot of those really strong mechanics. So I think he's going to be a unique problem for Mini to overcome.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. I got to just point out real quick, while we still have shots of the studio that's looking amazing, we've got an audience here. It's been over a year with us basically not having any live studio audiences at all. There was a small period where we thought COVID was getting better before Delta sprung back up over here. I think we had 2 weeks only during GSL. But it's so exciting to have the fans down here now, experiencing this in person, to have them cheer on their players. And excuse me, I got to point out one thing. Mini has been dominating not in front of an audience.
That's quite true. And he's been to the finals multiple times before, and even when he was in front of an audience, wasn't able to take it.
Yeah, and I don't want us to I don't want to overhype this idea, but let's just keep in mind it is a very different experience when it's just the studio staff here versus people cheering and reacting. And we know that Mini is a very emotional player. A lot of times if one or two things go wrong in these games where he's really driven to perfection, he can go on tilt a little bit. So we want to keep our eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Rush, of course, he hasn't been to the biggest stage as of yet. Like,
True.
This is his first finals. This is by far the deepest he's ever gone. He's got the skill set to back it up. This guy is so unbelievably legit. He's been trying hard for years now. He's been grinding, trying to literally become a champion. That has been his goal. So there might be a lot of pressure built up that he's finally made it here.
That's true. It's something that almost no pro players ever get this far. And you know, you're at that final step. If you can play out of your mind tonight, you might take the whole thing. And it looks like we are ready to start our game. This is game 1 in the ASL Season 12 finals. Let's go.
In the bottom left, our Protoss player, it's Mini. And the bottom right, of course, we have Rush, our Terran. The map is Lemon. Lemon is our craziest map. I'm actually kind of glad that we're starting on it, so it's not going to feel, you know, like sometimes you have a map like it's 4th map, and it becomes super pivotal, right? Where it's like, oh, we could have like match point now because of this. And a map like this, it's a little bit harder to predict what's going to occur. I don't like it there. But first map, okay. I mean, whatever happens here, you can kind of shake it off because it is so bizarre.
So a couple things we got to point out right away here that are really features of the map is that Lemon has a very small main here. And so I think in some ways the Terran is kind of forced to fast expand, and we see with Rush about to throw his depot down here at the entrance to the natural. He will be fast expanding. And that may encourage Mini to basically come out and try to do some kind of aggressive build to punish the fast expand or match it.
Well, it looks like he's going to do a forward gateway here at his natural. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Could be a little bit annoying for Rush to end up dealing with. And yeah, this is kind of the map Tastosis where I really don't know how it's going to end up, but it feels like it's probably going to be pretty aggressive.
I think so. You know, this is one of the older builds that has kind of been reinvented several times throughout the game. Just having a gateway in a sort of forward position. It's not in the middle of the map. It usually is part of a wall at your natural. And you basically try to run in here, and you know the Zealot is obviously like so much stronger than the Marine. The only way the Marine can survive is either to block with SCVs or to try to duck into these narrow corridors the Zealot can't fit in this game of cat and mouse that we see so often early on. But I gotta say, right now, Mini's looking great. He's controlled this probe basically perfectly and is now chasing this SCV that's at only 11 HP. He jukes down over here too at the bottom. But there's going to be a Zealot inbound. And I'm not sure if does this fully wall Artosis, the depot
I believe
here?
that this, yeah. I mean, the depot
I think so.
Against the barracks like that allows Marines through, but not Zealots or probes. So that side, so it's just about that left side that I'm not 100% sure because I haven't walled Lemon. But yeah, I think that this should be a Zealot tight wall.
And so now he's just harassing with the probe through the worker line, drawing the Marine away because obviously the probe is still a threat and could still cause a lot of chaos here. But from here, it's a little bit tougher for Protoss to figure out, you know, how to drag the game out. I think the pylon is a great idea, but of course Terran can just make the command center somewhere else and float it down. So not as dramatic of a hiccup with the pylon block as it is when it's against another Protoss or a Zerg, where they have to destroy the pylon first and then make the hatchery or nexus later.
Yeah, but he does not want to lift it off. He just kind of waits a little bit longer there. It does get canceled as expected. and can make his command center on location. Now the SCV over here scouting. I gotta say, like, just kind of looking at these early scuffles, Mini's micro with the probe was basically perfect, like you said, throughout. He kept it alive for like the absolute longest you ever really could, and did as much damage as he really could get done with the level of Rush's micro. So definitely kudos to him there.
Yeah. And from here, I don't want to say that Protoss is... I mean, would you say anybody's ahead or behind? I feel like it's, not...
I think
really.
you got to give like just slight ahead to Mini. His Nexus is quicker. That's like generally how you can look at the early game. If no one really loses anything, like other than maybe a scout, it's just like who gets the actual expansion up quicker, right?
Yeah.
Now this is kind of cool, and I like what we're seeing here. This was good micro there. It was a little bit scary for a moment. The Zealots try to come down again. Ooh, he does get them all pulled back. But this is actually a really important thing, and this was something I was going to talk about in a moment. Because he has that double wall, having a bunker in front is kind of important.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you can't step forward and attack the SCVs that are repairing a bunker without taking damage, but you always can if there is a wall of depots.
Yeah, you need the wall to survive Protoss early on. This was one of the first defensive inventions in the game, like when StarCraft first came out, but what ends up happening is that even though your command center and SCVs are safe, your wall still has to be defended, right? And so, we see this old idea still play out when build orders like this, where then the Dragoons will come down and try to fire at the depot or try to shoot over the depot to kill Marines. And that's why now, in the modern play, later on you get a bunker, and oh my god, double armory.
Wow.
Whoa. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
At the
I don't
same
know.
time.
I really don't even know what I'm looking at. The only thing I've ever seen double armory in is some very new Terran versus Zerg mech builds. So I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at because, if you go double armory, you have to go to at least 2-2 to make this make sense.
Are you sure there's no 1-1 play that you could try to get? I guess it finishes too fast, right?
Units.
Yeah.
1-1's going to finish, and he's not going to have anything. Like, you could do, if it's one armor, you can have way more units. So I don't know, Tastosis. Like, I've never seen this in this matchup, so this is really exciting.
This is pretty crazy. I mean, it reminds me of a joke we would make about, build orders that, might look like they're good but are actually the worst thing ever, like a Terran who goes one base double eBay or something, where it's you have almost no infantry that end up with 1-1, but this almost looks like that, but clearly there's something here. Now we oftentimes see double armory, but not at the same time. Usually the big timing that I think pretty much everybody that follows the game knows is +2 attack, +1 armor. Now, at the same time, over on Mini's side of the map, we have to point out he's rushing into carriers. And one thing about watching Mini go for carriers is that he seems to be, maybe along with Stork, the most capable at getting away with getting carriers out without ever going punished. He knows how to comfortably get there. But I don't know what a game like this looks with the double armory like this, because although normally 1-1 doesn't really help that much against a Protoss player's ground army, but it might be extremely handy against somebody who just goes for carriers, right?
Yeah, definitely, you're right about that. And I mean, against carriers, upgrades are like the number one thing. So the speed of these upgrades, I would say this is pretty decent for Rush, what he's doing against what Mini is doing. Also, Rush had it timed out so that his turrets all came up before the observers. Mini doesn't really know what's going on. This is a full turret ring. So there is not a lot of intel. Looking at Rush's build right now, he's definitely going towards 2-2. We see the starport already started. This could be a 2-base, 2-2, 7 factory all in. It could be going up to 3 base and, powering up to 9 factories and going 2-2. And I don't know.
There's one thing that Mini can look for that can still give away this build. If he clicks on one of the tanks in siege mode, he's going to see 1-1. And then he's going to know that, even though I don't really know of this build, and I think you're about as surprised as I am to see it, Artosis, Mini may click on a tank to get some intel and see 1-1, and then maybe know how to play the game from there. By the way, Mini is going for a style that's really spiked in popularity right now, which is the two-base, very fast carrier into a bit of a clunky ground army. I mean, I don't know if he has a... oh, he is getting a Citadel of Adun. I was going to say, you end up getting Zealot speed kind of late, but Mini seems to be setting up for a pretty big fight here. I mean, both sides essentially have some of the same ideas, which is to power up on two bases. The theme behind Rush's is to end up with +2 attack, +2 armor. The idea for Mini is to have enough carriers with enough ground that he can basically try to take a fight where either the air army is going to dominate or the ground army is going to dominate, depending on if he can snipe tanks or corner Goliaths.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to mention this is a 35 supply lead for Mini right now, just to show the difference between a double armory and a single armory build. Like, you are really putting off so much getting that second armory. But of course, he is going to spike in power at 2-2 very, very strongly. So I guess we'll see how that ends up going. The couple carriers going across the map. He has a very large ground army right now. Rush getting ready, I think. Did he build a third command center behind the minerals at his natural?
It's to the right. If you look at the mini map, you could see a little box at the upper right of the base. Now, two carriers is not really enough to generate any real threat. The only time you can ever really do anything with two carriers here is if you want to use the interceptors to tank so that a shuttle with a reaver in it can come in. We don't have a reaver this game. And that's an important thing to note. This was a carrier rush that basically skipped any kind of reaver leverage. And so... go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's, it totally is. It's like a very much, it's more powering based, right? Like, look at the size of his Gateway army right now. This is a lot of Zealots and a lot of Dragoons. And the timing of this feels a little bit weird coming out of Mini. Like, how much he has right now. Look at how many Zealots he has and how few Dragoons. This is not your normally two-base carrier builds are much more goon-heavy and much later on the Zealots. So this is going to catch Rush off guard, and I think he's just going to die.
I think you're correct. I think Mini has basically played this brilliantly, and by generating the carrier threat so quickly, there are actually no vultures. Or there's like one vulture, but obviously one's not going to cut it. And so these tanks are just going to get trampled by these Zealots.
Yeah.
Now, he's also doing a good job keeping the carriers pretty much out of Goliath range. And, I mean, granted, the mech units can kite, like a little bit. I don't think that this is going to be enough. I think Mini basically, in a kind of brilliant fashion, actually countered the Goliath tech with the Zealots in a number that was so high that now Rush can't even recover. And I got to say, I'm very, very impressive game one here from Mini.
Yeah, I think what we saw from Rush, because we haven't seen that before, but I think if it's the more standard two-base carrier that's really Dragoon heavy into later Zealots, like if you had switched the numbers there on the Dragoons and the Zealots, I think he's fine, and it's going to be an interesting game. But this was a slaughtering, kind of. I'm not even sure exactly GG, but definitely some sort of innovation on the number of Zealots that he produced for that timing attack.
It almost looked like he didn't have more than 6 or 7 Dragoons. To be honest, I wasn't really looking for that. I was kind of focused on the Terran side of things, and then I noticed carriers coming. But yeah, he basically continued to dump all gas into carrier tech, and then all minerals into the Zealots, squeaking out the Zealot speed. And really, it was not a carrier victory as much as it was a Zealot victory in the end.
Yes, very, very much so. And I think you're right. Like, a lot of Goliaths got made very early on. He did almost nothing with Vultures this game. You need a lot of Vultures to be able to hold on against that. So, a very different game from both sides, but Lemon is a strange map, right? We were talking about this, how it's like hard to prepare correctly on this map. You don't really know what your opponent's going to do. You have the least games on a map like this out of all the maps by far. So I think this can be kind of shrugged off a little bit on the side of Rush. I don't think he needs to take this loss too hard.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be representative of our other games here. Anyways, guys, quick break here. We come back. Game 2 with Mini versus Rush. Do not go away.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지. 오늘이 모여 새로운 날을 만든다. 나의 레벨은 다르다. 어나더 레벨 핫6.
기존에 없었던 새로운 패러다임을 제시하는 선수. 프로토스는 테란에 강하고 저그에게는 약한 종족으로 알려져 있죠. 스타크래프트에 존재하는 기본적인 상성 규칙을 깨버렸습니다. 2시즌 연속으로 ASL 결승에 오른 최초의 프로토스, 바로 변현재입니다.
변현재 선수 매 경기마다 이 독특한 승부를 띄우면서 자신의 분위기를 경기 이어나가고 있거든요.
저그에게 좋은 승률을 보여줄 수밖에 없었던 이유. 다른 프로토스와는 다르게 플레이를 또 해나간다는 것 아니겠습니까? 상대의 허를 찌르는 선택과 상대의 플레이를 불편하게 만드는 견제, 다전제의 각 세트마다 세밀하게 짜여진 심리전까지 변현재 선수만이 보여줄 수 있는 특별한 장점이 아닐까 싶은데요. 그 장점을 엿볼 수 있는 변현재 선수의 시즌 12 경기들을 뽑아봤습니다. 첫 번째, 8강 김지성 선수와 3세트에서 변현재 선수는 전진 다크 템플러를 준비했는데요. 경기 초반 SCV는 프로토스의 본진과 빌드를 파악하기 위해서 혈안이 되어 있었습니다. 변현재 선수는 그 누구도 파악할 수 없는 위치에 파일론을 건설하고 템플러 아카이브와 투게이트를 건설했습니다.
그냥 자신의 안마랑 쪽으로 빠져버리게 되면은 오!
예. 스타포트예요. 주면 살피고.
한 김에 자기가 지금은 건물을 짓고 있는데
가스를 늦게 지는 원게이트 더블 렉서스로 시작한 프로토스였기 때문에 이를 확인한 김지성 선수의 입장에서 올레 드랍십, SCV 최적화, 투팩 이후 건설된 컴셋 스테이션의 건설 시기는 나쁘지 않았습니다. 만약 프로토스가 본진에서 다크 2기만 생산하는 공격이었더라면 충분히 막아낼 수 있었죠. 하지만 전진된 게이트웨이에서 출발한 다크 2기는 본진에서 출발한 다크 1기보다 몇 초 정도 일찍 도착하였고, 이 타이밍에 있을 수 없는 총 3기의 다크 템플러는 테란의 상식을 파괴한 전략이었습니다.
자신을 가장 대표하는 이런 유닛이 다름 아니라 다크 아니겠습니까? 그냥 계속 다크.
네. 시제 변현재 레전드 기술이 나왔습니다.
도대체 어떤 프로토스가 이런 생각을 할 수 있었을까요? 두 번째 경기는 4강 김명훈 선수와 1세트입니다. 프로토스가 평소 사용하는 모든 빌드를 상대로 주도권을 잡을 수 있는 두 드론을 준비한 김명훈 선수. 하지만 변현재 선수는 김명훈 선수의 상식을 파괴한 본진 투게이트라는 과거의 빌드를 꺼내들었습니다.
이렇게 또 바스티러스 나오면 할 게 없거든요. 그렇죠.
프로토스의 앞마당의 더블 렉서스를 위한 게이트웨이와 토지가 없었던 것을 확인한 김명훈 선수는 당황할 수밖에 없었는데요. 저글링을 빠르게 생산할 수 있지만 라바가 부족한 단점을 가진 상태에서 추가로 생산한 드론 2기는 몰래 숨어 들어갔었던 첫 번째 질럿을 막아내기에는 크나큰 부담이 되었습니다.
고기가 안쪽에서
갑자기 지금은 좀
따라서 프로토스의 입구를 지키던 저글링들은 황급히 본진으로 돌아올 수밖에 없었는데요. 이때를 틈타 12시로 진격한 질럿 4기는 2기로 입구를 막고 2기로 해처리를 부수면서 저그가 아무것도 할 수 없게 만들었습니다.
맞고 두 기를 해처리 때리고
이것이 엄청 많으니까
정말 클래셔. 세 방향에서 두 방향을 모두 다 막아놓고
완벽한 시제 1세트 대결 변현재가 준비한 레전드 기술을 일찍 먼저 따릅니다.
이번 경기도 과거에 활용했었던 프로토스의 전략이었었는데요. 변현재 선수의 성장한 다전제 판짜기 능력을 느낄 수 있는 경기였습니다. 마지막 경기는 4강 김명훈 선수와 5세트 경기입니다. 프로토스의 파일런 서치를 기다리며 오버로드를 입구 부근에 배치하는 센스를 보여준 김명훈 선수는 바로 프로토스의 위치를 파악하고 5시 방향으로 첫 번째 오버로드를 보내며 오버풀을 준비합니다. 일반적인 오버로드 대응 빌드는 11포지 넥서스로 알려져 있지만 과감하게 순서를 바꾼 11 넥서스 11포지를 건설하게 되는데요.
이 3포지가 아닌 12넥을 시도를 했습니다.
질럿 생산을 뒤로 미루고 원팔론 상태에서 사이버네틱 스코어를 앞당겨 건설하고 커세어를 통해 오버로드를 2기 잡는 데 성공했는데요. 요즘 트렌드인 오뮤탈로 질럿을 저지하고 프로브 견제를 하려 했던 김명훈 선수는 생각보다 많은 숫자의 커세어를 보고 투스타 게이트를 생각할 수 있었을 겁니다. 투스타 게이트의 단점은 커세어를 초반부터 대량 생산하는 체제이기에 지상에서 약점을 보일 수밖에 없었습니다. 질럿 공발업 시기에 맞춰 히드라를 통한 크로스 카운터를 준비했는데요. 저그가 먼저 공격당했지만 소수의 히드라를 통해 프로토스의 앞마당을 파괴할 수 있었던 상황에서 큰 역할을 기대하기 힘들었던 커세어가 본진으로 돌아왔고 다크 템플러 2기와 함께 기적 같은 수비를 선보였습니다. 저그 본진에 난입하여 다시 한번 난전을 만들며 김영우 선수의 혼을 빼놓았습니다.
요구했던 건데. 적을 잡는 저승사자 변현재 김명훈이 다시 잡고 결승 진출.
기발한 전략과 의도적인 약점을 노출하는 플레이로 2시즌 연속 결승 진출에 성공한 변현재. 이번엔 어떤 경기로 우리를 즐겁게 할지 함께 지켜보시죠.
Welcome back, everybody. In Game 1, we saw a very novel two-base double armory, but on the other side of the map, mini Technic carriers cut Dragoons to almost none, basically the first few rounds of Dragoons you get at the start of the game, and then went hard into Speed Zealots. And because of the restraint on gas on the Terran side of things, and the fact that your factories come out a little bit later when you go for two armories very quickly, there were no Vultures ready to fight those Zealots. There were Goliaths ready to combat the carriers, and the Goliaths had upgrades that can be a real threat to the carrier composition. But when the Zealots come in, they don't have to respect the Goliaths or the tanks.
Yeah, no, it was a different one. But Lemon's a weird map. We're going into Largo next, and this map is pretty normal, pretty vanilla.
All right, guys, Game 2 starts now. Mini versus Rush continues on. Mini with that 1-0 lead in this best of 7.
So in the bottom right, we have Mini. And in the top right, we have a Rush.
So, a couple ideas we should talk about on this map. Your third base is on the low ground with this wide hill that attacks can come down into it. That does put a strain on the defender. It's not uncommon to have the third base be somewhat vulnerable. There is an additional base that you could opt into for your third, and that's at the 12, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock positions on the map. But for the Terran, that's a little bit harder to defend. The Protoss can basically take that without a lot of retaliation from the Terran, as long as you're playing the positions correctly. Dude, so cool to see an audience here. You know, I know that some parts of the world got vaccinated, or the vaccine rollout a little bit more quickly, but we're basically just in the second week of things actually being fully opened up, that gatherings can happen, and what a great way to end this year.
No, totally. And you know, while I wish that we could be there at the studio live with this audience, I'm just thankful that we get to do ASL. So a big shout out and thank you to all of our Patreons, patreon.com/ASL English. We really appreciate you guys. And it's so wonderful to still be casting ASL. We have a podcast up there for everyone. And, you know, a lot more Brood War content in the future. Hopefully we'll be able to get ASTL as well and just continue on with Brood War forever.
That's right. Brood War forever, man. So going into this second game, let's just kind of talk about where we're at for starts. You know, this map, I think, offers a little bit more flexibility for the Terran. We do not have Rush going for any kind of command center first or barracks command center. Mini right now is also looking for to be pretty normal as far as build orders go. There is the possibility right now for maybe Rush to go for a 2-factory build, or maybe even Mini goes for some kind of 1-base Reaver build or something like that. But right now there's still so many different branches available. We could have so many different possible games still.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true here. And you can see some nice probe harass going down, but it's quite likely that they'll both just kind of go into expansions reasonably quickly. As Zealot going across the map, Rush is going to see that instantly. So very nice juke there as well as he sees it coming. So he'll be able to block that without any problem. And now we just kind of wait and see, is he going to go for a 2-depot expansion or a 3-depot expansion? Both are very doable against the Zealot opener. And, you know, this is looking like really standard, so already very different from a map like Lemon.
Yeah, this is an opening Protosses like to do if they discover their opponent is adjacent to them and the travel distance is pretty small. And on Largo, it is actually pretty small. And so the idea is you come out with the Zealot and the Probe and then the Dragoon after that. And you try to interfere with the expansion setup, and behind that, you're making a Nexus of your own. So Protoss does cut probes while doing this, but also does at the same time get their Nexus started before the Terran's command center. But Rush is doing a pretty masterful dance with the Marines of really not taking any damage, and I think this exchange has actually gone pretty poorly, honestly, here for Mini. And you got to be careful because when Protoss does this, they are actually pretty brittle. If you drop a Zealot or drop a Dragoon, and we've already seen one Zealot go down, there are some options for counterplay on the Terran side.
Honestly, Tasteless, I'm surprised that he made an add-on and stopped producing Marines. It looks like he's going to go Command Center, but he killed the Zealot almost completely for free, and this is a rangeless expansion.
Right.
You can actually rush this with SCV Marine Vulture. It is doable.
I was thinking the same thing, man. I mean, there's been more experimentation with basically build orders where you discard Dragoon range early on. And
very trendy right now.
They make for some very strong builds. I think in the older theory of StarCraft, Dragoon range was an automatic must. You basically would make Dragoons and then fill in the range when the resources showed up. But you know, because Terrans have become so strong at defending, a lot of players, and you know, this is certainly up Mini's alley, will cut corners and try to tech into other stuff to get play out of the game, and then get range later on. But maybe a little bit too much respect shown here from Rush to Mini, and that Mini is, you know, dropping Zealots and really going without defending, and gets away with the expansion and the Robotech that's very fast.
Well, I'm not entirely surprised that he didn't do that, because this actually fits into Rush's actual style of Terran vs. Protoss very, very well, which is, you know, you want to be playing your own style in an important match like this. And what Rush loves to do in any situation where he can is he likes to open with mines and speed very quickly, as well as a dropship. That's really his kind of go-to in the early game of TVP. Now, we'll see if that works out. This is actually a very funny build out of Mini. He is going across the map immediately. No detection, but he has a shuttle. This could be a counter to what Rush does.
Well, this is really smart. I don't even know if there's a Reaver in there or not.
No, there's not.
But I think
I think he's just trying to counter the exact starport style that Rush is known for.
Yeah, he's totally doing that. He knows that basically you skip tanks and rely on mines to defend this, and so he's just going to do this weird Dragoon elevatoring into this base. Now, one tank is out, but we all know that 4 Dragoon shots can kill a tank. Is Dragoon range done? I think it's done now. Yeah, it looks like it is.
I think it's done. I think now it's done. But look at this, Tastosis. He's going to have an observer come up as well. This is craziness right now.
Dude, he can just push in here and murder the tank. He's going to kill the starport.
Oh, my God.
So much for the dropship play that Terrans really prefer to go for. He's going to be able to kill this tank. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah, this is an incredible counter to something that we see all the time out of Rush. Like, really, if you watch him play, this is the type of build that he really enjoys. But that quick shuttle, like, this is so counterintuitive. You would never do this on, like, the ladder against someone you don't know. But in this situation, a great move against Rush.
And there's basically a tank that's sitting back here. Oh, my God, this round is perfect. He could have gotten that killing blow on that extra tank. I think you can really see Rush very smart with how he controls. He doesn't even move the tank. He knows I'm not even going to give him the opportunity to try that out. But
look,
we've already
he no longer has vultures. Like, he lost every vulture. He lost his starport. He made like a wraith, and that's it.
Yeah.
This is terrible for Rush. Like, everything he went for early on, like, he wanted to get some harassment done. He wanted map control. He has nothing now. This is a garbage opening for Rush.
I've never seen the vulture into vulture drop play countered like this. Basically, it is somewhat predictable if you start to see the Terran surround you with mines and that a drop is going to be inbound. But what's fascinating about this is to counter it by just kind of going around the obvious mine spots, setting an observer up later after your shuttle is out, and then ferrying units up there is an incredible punish. And I also want to point out, he didn't even get Reavers along the way. He might be getting Reaver Tech now. I haven't actually seen the building, or I might have missed it. Okay, he does have it, but there was no rush into Reavers. It was just a Dragoon ferrying into the main strat. And I've never quite seen anything like it.
Yeah, no, well, there hasn't been anything like it. Again, I think that this was basically a blind counter to how Rush likes to play the game. And that's brilliant for a best of 7 like this against one of the best Terrans in the world when you know what he wants to do. And I bet you Rush has never even played against that. He's never had someone run around his mines and ferry 5 Dragoons into his base when he has 4 Vultures. That's just next level, man.
and talk about
else.
Going for the knees here from Mini. I mean, he takes out the starport, so now that you can't have dropships, he killed those vultures like you were mentioning, and was probably forcing siege mode to be upgraded. And so now Mini is going to have 4 bases, the 4th one about to finish, and he can comfortably power up and get ready to combat either a Terran going onto 3 bases or coming from a 2-base rush perspective.
Yeah. There's not really anything that Rush can do right now. He doesn't have that dropship that he wanted. There's pylon walls up. He's got a good spread of the Dragoons. He's got some observers up in some key locations. Rush is adding a bunch of factories, but honestly, like, he needs those factories to take a third. I don't think he's going to have an attack timing that opens up here at all.
Yeah. That being said, we were mentioning that base on the low ground. It's either the 3rd or the 4th. In this case, for the Protoss, it's the 4th base. That is going to be a pretty good target to hit. You see the hill just north of this screenshot. It could be a comfortable area to push from if Terran can manage to get over there. I just worry that really momentum is on Mini's side. He's going to be able to build up, I think, enough of a fighting force that he can probably take a fight close to the center right of the map before Terran can really get into reach of the expansion.
Yeah. Like, Rush is macroing pretty well right now, but this definitely doesn't feel like there's any real opportunities to push out. But he can get this into a big macro game, I believe. He does send out a dropship now, but unfortunately for him, he tries to get the dropship out early enough because a lot of people think that you can just go dropship harass at any time, and in a way that you can, but at this point in the game, it's very rare to find a location that doesn't have a cannon in it, So the Vultures have a very short period of time where they can do damage and drop.
So he's got that dropship ready. Let's see if he can get in anywhere. But, I think it's not that tough for Mini or pretty much any Protoss to preempt this. And, we want to watch as the push is going to come across the map now. By the way, no more probes being made here for Mini. He knows what he needs to do.
Rush is going towards the natural, which is the place most likely to not have a cannon. So, beautiful move here from Rush to drop these off into that natural expansion. He's going to get a decent amount of probes here. Not bad.
And he's going to try to come up into the main. Now, this is definitely some damage, but it doesn't appear this was set up to, allow a drop to maybe come in here later on. I'm sorry, not a drop. What am I talking about? To allow a push to come in behind this. So this is basically him just trying to make do with the dropship he has. That dropship does go down, being picked off there. And look, another attack in here with the Vultures.
Yeah, decent Vulture raid, but a good drill from Mini will allow him to kill the Vultures, but all the probes end up falling, so definitely not bad there from Rush. Now, that is a lot of Zealots once again. My God.
Man. One thing that I heard Flash point this out a long time ago, and I think it's a really smart thing for players that are trying to be students of the game, and it's that it can look like Terran's winning when they keep sending vultures out until they actually come out with the main push, and their main push is very small, and they don't have enough vultures to defend the tanks. So this style is good, and it's certainly hurt Mini, but it can act as a double-edged sword when, I think in this amount of time, even though the vultures did a lot of damage, Mini already mined quite a bit. I mean, if you look at the supply now, it's 180 supply. It's going to be 200 in the next round with the gateways. And I think Mini has basically gotten to where he needed to be, which is a maxed-out ground army with a speed shuttle and a reaver. And it's going to be up to the Terran to have very solid defense here, because whether it's going to be a push towards Mini across the map, or it's going to be Rush just trying to defend a third base, I think Mini may have a mathematical edge here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's up in supply, but we do actually have enough supply from Rush if he's set up properly to hold this. It'll be difficult. Like, that is a lot of Zealots that are out on the map. And I like the idea, and I like what you mentioned there with what Flash has said about, like, yeah, and then they just don't have enough vultures, because he's been scanning and checking, and he sees how many Zealots are out there. He needs a lot of vultures sitting with his tanks when he actually moves out to take his third. Like, he needs his entire army there ready to absorb Mini's attack, because Mini's army is gigantic. I think he's not actually that heavy on probes. This feels like a 55 probe army right now.
Yeah, I think he doesn't need any more probes right now. He's got the army. I think what is going to happen here is that Mini just wants to take one fight where he can completely clobber the Terran and flatten him. Now, I think Rush's position is pretty nice, but the throng of Protoss units that are going to be hurled at this is going to be insane. This is like, a handful of Dragoons and then pretty much just Zealots behind that. The defensive matrix goes down, and this angle actually isn't that great for the Protoss, but does he just have so much he can kind of overwhelm it?
Oh my god. The Rush's setup was as good as he could have had, and I tell you, that was a very good hold from Rush. He actually comes out on top supply-wise after that. That was a crazy attack from Mini, but you're definitely right. It was not, like, he didn't have the greatest surface area. Rush's setup was fantastic. That defense matrix was money. Very well done by Rush. It was money, Tasteless. I don't know how much they're winning for winning ASL, but that tank gets half of it.
I need you to break dance after that line in the cast. Now, he's going to counter push here, and this is the position we were talking about throughout this game, where this would be a good pressure point for Terran to try to attack the Protoss, and I think that this actually may be the moment where Mini is really going to lose control of this game, and I would imagine with a pretty inferior probe count is going to have an extremely difficult time recovering. He may actually have to just give up this Nexus.
Yeah, I think that Nexus falls no matter what. Mini is going to come up here. The very quick unsiege. Oh, the Mind Drag, the attempted Mind Drags. Ooh! Oh, just barely stops the tank death. The great tank death Tasteless almost occurred.
It was kind of insane. And I think from here, Rush has to play just a conservative game. And look at this. This is the sign of a good player. He packs up and leaves. There's no reason for him to try to hold that position. In fact, he might as well welcome Mini remaking the Nexus. Mini's already behind. Mini's going to send a probe across. I think it might get assassinated by these vultures. Yeah, it does. And so no Nexus down there.
After the opening here, like, this is some amazing play out of Rush. Definitely got to hand it to him. And you can actually, I saw the look on Mini's face after he lost his Nexus, where he turned his head slightly to the side and just kind of sat there like, I'm dead. He definitely is not feeling this game right now. He is behind. He does not have a good position. We've seen him popping out some High Templars, so maybe he can get into Psy Storm and try to whittle his way back in. But Rush certainly in control of this game right now.
Yeah, it's something that can happen to Protoss where you think you're going to have that big attacking moment where you're going to just end the game, and these Terrans can get pretty clever with their setups, and suddenly you've kind of thrown your advantage away. But Mini did set up without teching into an Arbiter. He didn't give himself the option to recall. He didn't go for carriers to try to cause, a different type of threat on the map. And look, man, if you go for what's actually a pretty old style, which is basically to try to smash them at the third, if it backfires, a lot of times you've lost the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to put all of your money basically into Zealots and try to attack, move in, and then they all die, it's not a good look. You're in trouble there. And honestly, his economy is not that big. He's been vulturated a bunch of times. I think he is a little bit lighter on probes than a lot of times what you see at high levels. So he's remade an army. He's almost maxed out here. Looks like he wants to attack again. But Rush flowing right back into a nice defense.
Okay, Mini's going to try to come up here. The angle is pretty bad for the Protoss. The Psystorms are going to come down and I think land pretty nicely, but really good storm on the Vultures. A lot of times it's a really great idea to try to get those clustered Vultures up there. He's not going to win the fight, but he might be able to run into the main. There's not that much here to defend. And this could bait out some of the tanks and Vultures to try to chase this. The storms come down, and honestly, the storms were not that bad. I think the SCVs are just going to repair this bunker, and this counterattack's basically been held.
Yeah. This is looking better and better for Rush every moment this game. Mini having a hard time keeping his supply up. These attacks are not doing it. That was a little bit of a desperation attack, even when he saw the army and then he couldn't quite fight it and he tries to run towards the main. It's like, oh gosh, we're desperate all over the place right now.
Yeah, and I think that fourth base being taken there for Terran at 12 o'clock, it causes a lot of problems. That base is actually really hard for Protoss to get to in these positions. The only way I can see Rush losing this game is if Mini is able to just get off perfect Psystorms onto clustered tanks and Vultures over and over and over. And I don't see Rush letting that happen.
And look at this. He comes down. Huge shot there on the probes. Like you said, he pulled out of the area, almost invited him to retake it, and here he is to kill it once again. The easiest base for Rush to attack. Mini did take that bottom left main, but I don't think that makes up for the damage everywhere else that's occurring to him. A lot of it from his own design, right? Like he keeps attacking with these big armies into positions that he's just not able to break.
Poor Psystorm there. The Psystorm does not have the same range as those siege tanks, so he does manage to get a few more off, but that's going to be a GG. With the tanks out at that entrance, there's no way, with all of the gateways being inside of Mini's main, no way he can get out. So now we're tied up 1-1.
Yeah, that was an awesome game, too. With the opener that Mini did, that looked so good, right? He forced him into tanks. He prevented a drop from ever happening. He killed the starport, right? He made the Vultures come back, which lost map control for Rush. But Rush got kind of active with his Vultures. He did end up getting a drop-off that was okay. He powered up super hard on 2 bases. And I think the problem this game was mostly of Mini's making. He decided to try to kill him. He was like, you know what? After that, I have a kill move. And Rush just made enough units that it didn't work.
It does seem like Mini is leaning into this style of disrespecting the Terran's defenses. Terrans have gotten very good at both holding bases and then cutting corners and getting upgrades or going into drops. And, I think after the way the game 1 went, where he just, knew exactly when to cut Dragoons and go heavy on Zealots, I think he thought he had a perfect setup to basically punish the Terran's only hope, which was to save that third base. But to his shock, Rush had an amazing setup. I think Mini did fumble the attack a little bit. We saw Zealots attacking a turret at one point in time. And from there, he had this advantage, but the way he decided to close it was maybe one of the riskier ways to try to win a game. And here we are, tied up 1-1.
Yeah. It almost feels like he's trying to play his Protoss versus Terran like he plays his Protoss versus Zerg, where he has these kind of weird timing attacks set up. But, if Terran catches wind of that, they can definitely counter something like a very Zealot-heavy army. You saw how many Vultures he had there with his tanks, the mines out front, a great defense. But now we're going to go into Eclipse, which can be a very tough map where Protoss has a lot of options to dictate the early game.
All right, guys, game 3 is ready here. Let's do this. Let's see who's going to take the lead in this best of 7 as we get closer and closer to crowning a champion here in the ASL Season 12 Finals. Tastosis, I'm so excited for this map specifically. There's so many ways Protoss can play this. I really want to see what Mini thinks is like the StarLeague champion play against the most modern Terran player that we've got.
Well, if I had to guess, Tasteless, he's going to steal his gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now,
we'll see. You know, Mini, he's such a mind game player and he's such a prep player that he might be like, he's practicing against gas steal, so let's not do it.
Yeah, I mean, he might just do like Gateway, Gas, Cybernetics Core, and just play normal. I mean, there's a lot to maps like this. So if we were, let's say, 12, 15 years ago, most Protoss players would say the play is to make a pylon outside his base with a Gateway, right? And try to harass in there. And I think that's always going to be part of the game. The dreaded Protoss proxy gate. But we've seen this very different approach now of, even in one-on-one maps, basically going for quick nexus. Now, he is sending a probe out after the pylon. That generally means he wants to do a gas steal. Yeah, which, honestly, I would be surprised if he doesn't. It just limits Terran options so significantly. And we've definitely seen... Now, the way he brought his SCV out, he might take his own gas now. That is a real possibility. You saw the angle the probe was coming from, so he knows there's not a proxy gate. Right. So we'll see. Like, that's how Sharp normally plays it, but looks like he's not rushing to take his own gas. Yeah, and Mini has the money to take his own gas as well here, and isn't to take Rush's own gas. Excuse me, that's what I'm trying to say. Or maybe he takes
Rush
it the
is
last
calling the bluff. He's acting like he's going to take the gas, and Rush just doesn't bite it. Wow. Huh. Double barracks. And okay, I don't like this for Rush at all. No. So he makes the double barracks. You know what? I think he's thinking that it might be Nexus first, but if Mini just goes Forge here... Yeah. I like... Dude, I think he made a gateway. Yeah, he did make a gateway. You're definitely right about that. But he might go both as well. That's a... Look at us. We know all the pixels. Mini, he never makes a Forge before a gateway tasteless. Yeah, so kind of a crazy moment. He basically tried to threaten a gas steal and went for quick Nexus behind it. And in kind of a fascinating... I guess nowadays, on these 1v1 maps, everybody scouts after Pylon to go to quick Nexus to try to just monitor the play here. And so Rush is trying to blind counter that, but in the new meta, oh my god, he takes the gas now. Yeah, and now he's not even making Marines, and he's not producing that second rack. He has it ready in case. And in fact, we saw him scout his own third base location as he thought. I think he might even be overthinking this, Tasteless. Like the way that he just did that. Yeah, so now we don't even need a cannon. Mini has outdone Rush in this early game. Like, the fact that he scouted that third base means that he thought, oh, there's proxy gates here still. Like, yeah. Even though he saw the angle of the probe, I think he thought that was a second probe coming in. This was like watching the early game of this. We could actually go back to this several games over. There was basically this weird poker game going on where each player was trying to, well, like I should say Rush really was trying to guess what the intentions of Mini are and hard countered outright. And back at home, Mini is build order wise juked and jived through this, countering everything perfectly. And right when Rush tried to take a hard turn into a fast expand, Mini stole his gas in probably one of the latest gas steals, so to speak, in professional gaming history. That actually has an impact. That is like a good play. I mean, and now the Zealot's out here. Yeah, and I mean, he'll kill it. A little bit sloppy there, but yeah, this is a it's a weird game, a very weird mind game filled opener that, yeah, I would say without a doubt Mini has an edge right now. Yeah, and the problem for somebody like Rush now is, you know, when you misstep in a TVP and they kind of, you know, don't get tripped up by your counters,
I think it's a much easier game for someone like Mini to just catapult ahead in tech. And Mini is doing the very modern fast Nexus style of just diving on top of Robotech and probably going to go for a shuttle and a Reaver. Now, Terran can obviously just get an eBay and block that out, but you're basically forcing Terran to make turrets. If they don't, the Reaver drop will do some damage no matter what. But then, it's a pretty easy game from there to kind of control a two-basing Terran on Eclipse and set up a tactic to prevent Terran from taking the third base.
And
spawn.
And also, just going into Reaver makes it so hard for Terran to attack. So, generally, when you see the Reaver taken in games like this, you'll see Protoss also take the third Nexus pretty darn quick, which I'm kind of expecting here out of Mini. But like we already saw a carrier game, you can go carrier from here as well if you want.
That is true. There is.
I don't like it as much, Taste. I think it's stronger to just take the third Nexus, but like I could see him doing that.
Yeah, there are these games where we see, Reaver, and then basically once the Reaver's out, you just go right into carrier because as long as you don't lose the shuttle and the Reaver, you can comfortably tech into that. I do feel like the math on that may work out nicely for Mini, but at the same time, the only way that, Protoss lose doing that is with a powerful two-base play from Terran, which clearly is what we're having here as the fourth factory is coming down. And this is go ahead.
Oh god, yeah, no, there he is going Stargaze, so it does look like it's good. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be like two base carrier once again.
Yeah, and a lot of the ideas from game one are coming back here in game two, but I will say the Protoss's opening was even better in game one. And this time we do have the Reaver, as a threat. Now he skipped turrets. So, you can, bait out a drop with, the Zealot and then try to fire into the tanks. So let's see. He may... Wow, he just doesn't commit at all.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have a Reaver yet. He's making
I'm sorry.
Reaver tech now.
Is that
so
empty?
This is like a scout, yeah.
Okay, so he goes shuttle first just to check what's going on in the main because I guess he doesn't care. Huh.
It's interesting that he didn't go Reaver before the carriers. This is like hyper greed out of Mini. And against the, look at these, he's laying mines behind. I love it, but an Observer is coming up just in time to save these goons. Wow. Imagine if that Observer had not come. Oh, boy. That would have been some juicy, juicy mines. But here comes the push now out of Rush, and he's got 4 factories. The Reaver is not out yet, right? Like, this is just maybe 2 Zealots in here?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That's not scary.
Is so weird.
Yeah.
Well, the Zealots did buy time for these Dragoons to kind of clean up these Marines, and let's not forget, not the, Marines are very... What?
Yes. Yes!
I
Scouts,
can't
tasteless.
believe it. I can't believe it.
He has to get those scouts out there and stop the turrets. Like, this is... If he stops the turrets, the push is over.
What? So
I
think he's just making scouts.
Yeah.
And so basically, Terran thought he had to run out here and get here before carriers, but... What?
Of course.
Oh, my God.
Dude,
now,
this type of push, you don't get an armory with this. You get an eBay with this. You can't afford armory with a build like this. So these 2 scouts ruin it. And, scouts actually, if you have them, they aren't bad. And you can see this. Those tanks aren't going to do enough here, I don't think, Tasteless. The scouts are going to help him hold.
The scouts don't do that much damage, but if they are just here over time, they will just whittle down this army. And that's what we're seeing now. And with 2 scouts coming up here, all the scouts have to do to stop this build is to kill the SCVs, which need to make turrets.
Dude, it's already held, man. This is
over.
Yeah. He's got 1 tank here.
He just needs to
kill
those SCVs.
All he needs to do is kill the SCVs, like you said, or the tank. If he kills the tank, then the units just walk out. Oh, the mine drag.
All right, the mines are being planted over here. I have never seen a game like this ever in my entire life.
No.
And, we have these units that are basically not good units in the game. The scouts are extremely expensive and don't really do almost any damage to ground. But, if you don't assume that is a factor, then you end up in a situation like Rush's where he has no Goliaths. He thought he would basically have enough turrets to stop interceptors and then hammer down the natural, and instead these scouts are out now, and they've killed all the tanks. The Dragoons can now pick off the turrets. He doesn't have to keep making scouts. I don't really know where the game goes from here. In fact, he could very well just now tech into carriers.
Yeah. No, I don't think he makes any more scouts. Like, the scouts disable the initial push. The initial push needs to get into place. So now, having killed all those siege tanks and everything, that takes a long time for Terran to remake siege tanks. Whereas, you're still making Dragoon Zella. It's just like you refill whichever one you lost more of. This is... I like the position for Mini for sure.
This is just insane to me.
It is insane. We're literally watching in an ASL Finals a two-base scout opener in PvT.
He went for Protoss airplanes. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe. He went for banana flyers. Look at this thing. This is insane, man. And now the scouts shoot down the mines.
Yes, of course. You're supposed to pick off mines with scouts.
That's what they were made for.
What have you been doing on the ladder?
I mean, strategically right now, I think Rush has been, zoned out of any easy recovery, but also there is the fact that, Rush is sitting here going, he made scouts in this game and I'm going to lose, and maybe lose this ASL Finals in one of the most memorable moments in StarCraft history.
Maybe.
I mean, this is just wild.
The scouts are really low use now that these Goliaths are out. You see they're kind of floating over the third base. I'm sure they'll find like a couple things to do with them. But overall, like, they will just get absolutely destroyed by the Goliaths. They can't really fight in this situation. Maybe they'll join up with the carriers to tank shots later on or something, but right now for Rush, he's got to keep macroing off of these two bases and see if he can do a push.
Yeah, in fact, Terran may still win with this push.
Yeah, it's possible for sure.
There are enough Goliaths out now. Oh, my God!
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Does get the Reaver out, so that's good. He is making these carriers. Does he actually have enough to stop the push, though? Like, Rush has made a lot of units.
Yeah, I actually think that this push may just overpower him. Here we go. The carriers are out now. He's got a decent amount of Zealots, but they do not have Zealot speed, although they may be able to get on top of these tanks.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Is he just going to kill everything?
Well,
this is the weirdest battle I've ever... This is a box art battle right now.
This is a box art battle for sure. We just need one ghost in this for the Terran, and we would have completed, a box art fight here.
Well, there should be a floating science facility to the left, but yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
Oh, my God.
And, the scouts did end up tanking a decent amount of damage back there. And, we have Goliath now on the run here.
Tasteless, you say they tank damage. They have 10 kills right now, okay?
These
scouts
wild.
are the MVPs of this game. Look at the Goliath chasing the carriers if the carry matters. It's all about these scouts right now. The scouts kill it as it chases them. I love this. I can't believe what I'm looking at. Mini takes his third base. He's held 2 pushes here on the backs of those ripped scouts.
Yeah, and now, we're at the point in time where there's 4 carriers out. I imagine Zealot charge or speed or whatever is being upgraded, or maybe not actually. Oh yeah, okay, he's got the Citadel. And I mean, at this moment, I gotta say, man, like, I feel like Terran, every attack that comes out should, in theory, be a little bit weaker than the one before, because the Goliath count was whittled down, the tank count was whittled down. Zealots and Dragoons are a little bit easier to replenish, especially now that the third base is operational. We've got a Reaver here to help with the fight. Here we go again.
Yeah, comes up right again now with these slow Zealots kind of tanking everything in the front. The scouts come in from the side and start sniping units. The carriers targeting down some siege tanks here. Oh my God, the siege tank count is so low. Oh, one of the scouts finally dies.
I think these scouts will live forever, Artosis. I mean, these are going to be immortalized in StarCraft history. The Goliaths now go down, and I think we're in the twilight of this game. I don't really see an easy way for Rush to come back. I mean, the third attack was destroyed. We're up to 4 carriers, and 6 are going to be totaled up very soon now. The Dragoon count is remaining healthy, and you can see back at Terran's home, the main is going to be mining out pretty soon.
Yeah, he does not have like a lot of options here now. Carriers are getting stronger and stronger. One of the scouts is still alive. He's pissed that his brother died.
That's right.
He's out
they
for
were
blood.
twins.
What
they
a
were together in the
crazy
womb,
game.
Artosis.
They were in the 2 Stargates next to each other. Oh my god. All right, well, Russia's trying to make something happen with vultures.
Oh, well, this could be, you know, some damage here. Oh, nice block there with
yeah,
the
to
Zealot.
the Terran army, Tasteless. Like this. Oh, man.
So, I just want to go big picture and point out that there's been a lot of 2-base carrier rushes in the ASL, in the ladder. Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me?
And, you know, Rush going for the counter build to that, which to basically, you know, kill them before the carriers come out. Mini played, I think, one of the most brilliant games we've ever seen with a surprise scout tech that just hard counters the hard counter from Rush.
Yeah, that was so unexpected, too. It's funny because he had like 6 Marines at the beginning of the push, but you use those to tank when you go across the map.
Exactly. They're
if
not
he saw the 6 Marines, he would have held. Like, he would have killed him.
Well, usually what happens is if you can get about 4 of those Marines off across the map, you make a bunker to basically have like an anchor of defense. But yeah, very intelligently, Mini made sure that those Marines were the units killed off so that there was actually nothing to stop. I mean, how much damage does the Scout do? Is it like 6 damage per shot?
No, it's more than... It's like... It's at least 8 to ground.
It's at least 8... Or maybe it's that it attacks so slow. But yeah, it's not a lot of damage, okay? And so, you know, it's so funny to me that he actually pulled this off. We're up to 6 carriers now. I think attention in this game for everybody is going to be drawn to the Terran's third base now, because there are going to be opportunities for many to try to come in here and smash that. And although this has been an insanely exciting game, we can't really count Rush out right now. His supply is very healthy. If a Terran sits on a third base for very long, they can easily grow into the 4th base just north of that position. So we may see Mini set up for one of these busts that's pretty similar to what we've already seen a couple times in these games here before.
Yeah, I think that would be the worst move for him, though, honestly. Like, carriers are the units that scale best in Protoss vs. Terran. Like, the more you get, the scarier it becomes. So I think him sitting back right now in, like, kind of defensive arcs and just building more carriers, it puts the onus of attack onto Rush. If Rush is going to have to kill him. If Mini just continues to mass up carriers, eventually he'll get into Psystorm, too. And when you give a Protoss a Psystorm, he's going to eat a lot of Goliaths.
Yeah, you pretty much treat the Goliaths like they're Hydralisks. And so I think your theory is basically right, Artosis. It's a lot more pressure on Rush to try to solve a Mini that is growing out of control. But, I mean, Rush is actually macroed to the point where he's basically matching Mini in supply. But Mini's very good at the balancing act of having the carriers target the tanks, avoid the Goliaths, and then letting his ground and pound Dragoon Zealot composition come in and do the rest of the work. Oh, he didn't get plus. He only has 4 interceptors.
Are you?
I just noticed.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be the new one. There's no way.
It could be the new one, but we got to point this out. This is something that actually happens from time to time, where like things are getting so tight, and it's actually not always that obvious how many interceptors are out. Well, I'm sure the observer will check again, but I saw 4 interceptors on the carrier he clicked on. He does have +2.
Oh, he has 8 on that one.
He's got 8. Okay. Sorry. And so now he's going to come down. He's going to hit that turret. Force siege.
Oof.
And I think this is just pressure. He's not going to commit with this. He could kill the barracks or something like that.
Yeah, just pick off anything, really. Like, he's on 4 base. He's got to be feeling pretty strong. Like, his carrier count continues to grow, and as long as he does not attack in and waste his army, I think that's one of the big mistakes people make in positions like this. They're like, wow, my army's so good. And then they attack the Terran, who's in siege mode, in position, and then they're going to lose everything, right?
Right.
So I think the right thing for him is to just kind of run around, harass what he can, continue to work on his comp, and yeah, like, he's going to find a way to deal damage, and Rush is forced to do something. Like, I mean, he has a lot of Goliaths right now, but if you wait forever, Mini will get into that other tech like we were talking about.
So the carriers are going to move up now. There are some pretty good angles to snipe between this pond and this ridge. You can be pretty abusive, but, you know, Terran now has so many Goliaths that you can end up literally losing all the interceptors. And so we're going to have to get into Storm Tech. We're going to have to probably see counterattacks. You know, it's subtle, but if you watch closely on the mini-map, you're seeing Mini basically poke in and try to generate threats from different angles and try to keep Rush defending. But Mini also needs to expand again here.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. That's the one thing I'm a bit worried about with him. Like, he should really expand to the bottom right. But here he goes. He's kind of coming in right now in a line. Like, I don't
think
like this very much.
This might work, man.
It might.
The Zealots are going to come in here, and keep in mind the siege tank shots, well, they're not anymore because he unsieged, but they would do splash damage onto the Goliaths. They're going to siege up again. I think that basically Mini just has too much, and he's going to be able to smother the Terran in this position, wipe out the 4th base, maybe even wipe out the 3rd base, and take Terran out this game.
Yeah, you definitely could be right about that. That is a lot of carriers in 9. And those carriers gonna help him, I think, to kill this base off. Enough Dragoons left that the Goliaths are not going to be very helpful. And Rush simply cannot remake that quality of an army again. That was it. Like, losing the 4th base, you will not be able to make that again. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him GG. You even saw the dance there out of Mini.
That's it. I mean,
yeah.
I gotta say, you know, over 2 decades, and we're still learning, and we're seeing what may be regarded as like the worst unit of maybe the 4 worst units in the game used to win a match which may allow Mini to become an ASL champion. I can't believe it. And I'll tell you what, I mean, huge morale boost over here for Mini, a humiliating moment right now for Rush to see, you know, the best Terran that we have right now falling into a trap where, you know, we just don't consider scouts to even be a unit that is going to be made in a competitive game, and especially in a Protoss versus Terran.
Yeah, a very rare occasion, less than 1 time per ASL, we'll see one in a PVZ, but in a PVT, and the thing is, it was a perfect situation there. If he had made carriers at that point, Rush probably kills him.
No,
so
that's
that
the
was
thing.
that was a game-winning move.
Won the fight that allowed him to stretch the game out and then win the game. That's what's insane about them. The scouts won the game.
Yeah, they made everything else possible that occurred here. So just a beautiful game out of Mini once again. He is a brilliant player and now leads the series 2-1. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to see if Rush can tie it up.
디자인하면서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 부분은 울트라 기어의 차별화된 브랜드 메시지를 잘 나타내는 것입니다. 신과 영웅들의 최강의 무기들을 검토하였습니다. 그중 니케의 승리의 날개를 모티브로 지금의 울트라 기어의 로고가 탄생하게 되었습니다. 울트라 기어의 이니셜인 U와 G를 비상하는 날개의 형상으로 레드 색상을 사용하여 강력한 에너지와 힘을 나타내었습니다. 울트라 기어는 최상의 퍼포먼스로 진정한 게임의 즐거움, 승리의 기쁨을 여러분께 선사할 것입니다.
양념 툭툭, 올리브유 또르르. 우와, 그리고 제로. 너무 좋다. 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
아이시스 8.0을 챙긴다는 건 건강한 생각까지 챙긴다는 것. 나를 움직이는 핑크 에너지. 아이시스 8.0.
성공은 끝없는 노력으로 만들어집니다. 그러나 노력의 양과 성공의 속도가 항상 비례하지만은 않죠. 그렇게 많은 사람들이 노력에 지치고 또 포기하기도 합니다. 그러나 유영진 선수는 지금 이 시간에도 포기하지 않았죠. 두드리면은 결국은 열린다라는 것을 유영진 선수가 본인의 결과를 통해서 입증을 해내네요.
노력으로서 만들어내면서 자신의 인생에 있어서 멋진 작품을 지금 만들어가고 있거든요.
항상 24강에서 주저앉던 ASL에 진출한 선수 중 한 명에서 이제는 기존의 강자들을 넘어선 테란의 새로운 강자로 거듭나고 있는 이번 시즌의 테마 Anyone Can Be a Winner에 부합하는 유영진입니다. 먼저 첫 번째 소개해드릴 경기는 8강 박상현 선수의 세 번째 세트인데요. 이 박상현 선수가 굉장히 독특한 전략을 꺼내 들었습니다. 원해 처리 레어 그리고 이제 저글링 러커 돌파였었는데
오, 야, 이걸 스트라테크까지 지금 원베이스. 오,
예, 이건 진짜 과거에나 있던 일입니다.
그게 순식간에 한 번이라도 흔들리면 앞마당 패스하고 본진 쪽 베럭스가 장악당하면서 바이오닉 병력을 모을 수 없어서 그냥 GG를 치고 마는 이런 필살기성 전략이었었는데 유영진 선수가 그 플레이를 보자마자 굉장히 침착한 판단을 내리면서 본진 쪽에서 수비를 하거든요.
쪽까지.
베럭스까지 올라가야 됩니다. 베럭스까지 올라가야 돼요. 상대방 병력이 하나.
자, 여기 스캐너지 모아가면서 하나 잡았어요.
붙여놓고 러커가 베럭스 주변에
유영진.
그런 흔들리지 않는 멘탈이 있었기 때문에 예전 24강에서 탈락을 하던 유영진의 모습에서 결승전까지 올라오는 유영진의 모습으로 탈바꿈을 했다고 생각이 됩니다. 두 번째 경기 같은 경우는 4강 조일장 선수와의 두 번째 세트인데요. 조일장 선수가 저글링 러커 뚫기라는 역시 필살기성 경기 운영을 준비를 했는데 이후에 선택된 것은 히드라스크 댄입니다.
이런 구도에서 저우가 대놓고 좀 러커를 빨리 뽑는 식의 그런 진행은 거의 없었거든요.
정찰과 본인의 느낌에 의존한 눈치가 정말 빨랐다고 생각이 됩니다. 그리고 나서 상대방의 공격이 시도되기 전에 투벙커를 완벽한 간격으로 앞마당 쪽에 뽑아놓고 탱카라를 생산을 하면서 전혀 흔들림 없는 또 필살기 수비를 보여줬었죠.
자, 들어가면서 여기 탱크.
자, 승부입니다.
네,
완전 클래식한 저울인 러커 입구도 한데
지금 러커가 좀 많이 내기.
자, 내기.
버티네요.
결국은 수비에 도움이 됩니다. 시도를 해가면서 상대에게
완벽한 타이밍으로 상대를 무너뜨릴 수 있다는 유영진.
어떤 상황에서도 흔들리지 않으면서 본인의 경기를 만들어가는 유영진 선수의 모습이 있었기 때문에 이번 시즌 가장 완벽한 테란이 유영진인 것 같다라는 평가를 이끌어내지 않았나 이런 생각이 듭니다. 자, 마지막 세 번째 경기 역시 이제 4강 조일장 선수와의 경기에서 다섯 번째 세트가 또 생각이 납니다. 조일장 선수가 수비만 하도록 유도를 하고 12시 멀티를 지속적으로 괴롭히는 이런 전체적인 맵을 컨트롤하는 능력이 좀 빛을 발했다 이런 생각이 듭니다. 뒤에 앞에서 아까 그 변태 완료됐었던
자, 울트라나고 있는 상황에서요. 자, 여기 디팔러 없고 가스부죠.
자, 울트라도 이제 나왔습니다만은
우리가 너무 많아요.
자, 결승전으로
이 병력까지 끌어내면 그 길이 열리거든요. 결승에 가는 길에 취재 10년간의
이 경기를 통해서 이제 우리가 느낄 수 있는 것은 확실히 유영진 선수가 상대의 노림수를 눈치채고 완벽한 수비 그리고 경기를 깔끔하게 끝내는 이런 능력까지 기승전결이 완벽한 이런 느낌을 우리가 받을 수가 있습니다. 이렇게 수많은 노력과 또 실패를 통해 얻어진 경험을 바탕으로 이제 자신의 경기력을 100% 발휘하기 시작한 유영진 선수가 결승전에서 또 어떤 모습을 보여주게 될지 많이 기대해 주시기 바랍니다.
All right, guys, we're back. Tastosis and I just finished getting our matching scout tattoos that we're going to show to each other before we cast.
Yeah.
I'm
the 4-kill one and you're the 6-kill one. Unfortunately, I died first and you made it to the end of the game.
I mean, I don't know if we can top what we just saw. I mean, that might be the craziest play for StarCraft of the Year. I mean, I think you're going to be hard-pressed in even other esport titles to kind of match the degree of insanity, of ingenuity, of hype. And it worked. I mean, we do see some pretty bold and brave strategies, even in StarLeague finals like this one, but they don't always work. And when they do work, they make history.
Yeah, that was a special moment, and I could see parts of that possibly being replicable again, right? Like a two-base carry rush. Sometimes you get pushes that come out and just set up turrets and stuff, but if you can just stop that dead in its tracks like that, oh my god. And what a wild game, and what a great series that we're having so far.
And using the shuttle to scout, now I understand why. He just needs to see, oh, okay, are you not defending? Are you going to attack? Okay, got it. By the way, I don't care if you know I'm making a Reaver because the surprise is the scout. Normally, that rush is held barely by the Protoss if a Reaver has perfect connections. And usually, the Terran can win in those moments. So kind of insane to see that right there.
Yeah, the scout's just so interesting. But let's see what they have planned for the next map. We're going to be going on to Good Night, which I think it's not a bad map here for Rush to bring it back and tie it up. It's definitely possible to play a big macro game here. There's a lot of paths you can run around with your vultures, and I think we can have a pretty normal game on Good Night.
I think we could, but honestly, these games are getting pretty far away from normal. We could end up with 7 games here total, man. There's still a lot that we're going to be unpacking here. Let's get ready and go into Game 4. Mini with a 2-1 lead. Can Rush come back and tie it up, or is Mini going to get further and further to getting to that ASL Season 12 Championship trophy?
So there we have Mini in the top right, and in the bottom left we have Rush. So cross spawns here. And we'll see what strats they choose. But just to mention, in any 4-player map where you see cross spawns, if Protoss were to go for like a Nexus first, that's going to be something that's very hard for Terran to punish. And as far as Terran, I don't think it changes too much how Protoss will end up attacking Terran, other than it takes a long time to move the army across the map, right?
I mean, if you're in faraway spots, I think it's a little bit... It can be ambiguous what Terran wants to do, I think, from the Protoss's perspective. I mean, you can do these crazy 2-base pushes. You can go for, getting 4 bases pretty fast. I mean, there's a lot of ways to approach the matchup. And again, there's so many different ways to open at the start here. I mean, we have Mini making a pylon up here, but this could still be Nexus first.
Yeah, it really could be anything. We'll just see as it goes along. But as far as Rush goes, I mean, I'm kind of expecting mostly factory expands out of him. He really doesn't do as many gasless expands as other Terrans, and it does look like Mini's going to be going for a Nexus first here.
That's right.
In those cross spawns, so that's actually going to be a nice advantage for him.
Yeah, I think so. This is going to be pretty comfortable. Now, what variation of the quick Nexus is it going to be? One thing that Mini seems to be pretty confident, using over and over is basically fast Nexus into 2-base carrier.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in Game 1, and that wasn't even fast Nexus, and he still pulled it off. But, I mean, in this game, he could certainly do it again. Go ahead.
Well, if it's cross-spawn Nexus first, that's not something that's really punishable by a factory expansion. That's part of the reason why Terrans do the end scout for the close spawns when they go for factory expansion, is because those spawns are close enough that you can kind of rally in and kill it off. When it's cross-map, though, it's so much further. I think people actually don't have a great understanding of just how much further it is. It's like takes a very long time to get up there and get that attack off. So
yeah, well, I mean, the types of rushes that you can throw at it, it's kind of tricky because, you know, if Protoss has just the right unit set, the Terran gets destroyed. And, you know, from there, the Terran will flee with whatever SCVs he has, and the Protoss will just comfortably tech ahead.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't understand what's going on, but Russia's doing a cross-spawn scout. You never see this from Terran. This is a... Like, he goes and he finds Nexus first. And he kind of threw his head to the side there a little bit when he saw it. I'm sure that it's a little bit frustrating. Gets the add-on right away. Probably will see him go into either speed or mines very, very quickly. I mean, you can go dropship in this situation, which Rush really likes. But Mini might just predict that, you know?
Okay, this is a big scout, and it's really too bad that Rush didn't deny that, because that completely changes the trajectory of this game. Not only does he see the command center, he can scoot inside the main and see everything that's being made and not being made right now. And, you know, one of the, you know, decisions that can be kind of tough for the Protoss to make is, you know, how many Zealots or Dragoons do I make? Do I cut probes? Do I... And in this case, he knows, okay, you're not even going to attack me. So let's stick with our one gate. Let's keep making workers. Let's go right into that robo-tech. And, I mean, we're going to see this tech spike from Mini that's insane. And, you know, Rush scouted this and basically decided that he's going to play an early game where he's going to be pretty behind.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, it's hard to punish in situations like this. He will go Starport after killing off, you know, that probe that was scouting him, but it's such a greedy Nexus first out of Mini. He's in such good shape, right? He hasn't made that many units. He skipped his range upgrade. It's only one gateway, not two, so it's like non-stop probes, basically. Going into the very fast robo as well. This is the best opening you can have as Protoss in this matchup, truly. There is not, like, this is the actual best opening if you can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why we don't see it all the time is that Terrans know how to punish it, but I think he realized, okay, cross spawns, and especially with somebody like Mini, who really is actually very good at holding this, this is kind of, you know, it's tough, man. It's really a tough game. The second gateway is going to be added in. We've got Goon Range coming here, and, I mean, it doesn't mean that Terran can't win, but, you know, I mean, Mini's going to be powering ahead, and what I'm really watching for is, are we going to see the Stargate come down or not? Because we both talked about the fact that it does seem like Protoss can just take a third base as well. But, you know, I think specifically because with these quick Nexus builds, you're able to get your second gas and get many more probes up so quickly. Suddenly you have these abilities to tech so fast that Terran can't be comfortable with it. And look at this.
This is so funny.
Well, this isn't going to work. I think Protoss is going to be pretty heavily punished here. This can be good if they're basically just not ready. And I didn't see the vultures there at first, so I thought Terran might get punished. But the idea is that he would run in there, kill the Marines, and then start to harass. But it didn't work. And so our Stargate tech is going to be coming forward, but this time with 2 less Dragoons. And with a drop inbound, there's a chance that Mini is going to end up taking a lot of damage. You know, if the Protoss gets as greedy as they are and hemorrhages 2 Dragoons in a move like that, this rush could, this drop from Rush can be devastating.
Well, he does have the Dragoons in position here, so that's really unfortunate for Rush. You kind of have to guess where you're going to go in. And, well, he finds it right there. If he had gone in from the other side, I could have seen it actually doing some pretty significant damage. I mean, 4 Vultures with speed, even though they had some damage on them, they probably killed quite a few probes. But now that Mini has seen it, he's confirmed what's going on. He's going to start moving his Dragoons around and try to keep that dropship from doing any damage.
Yeah, a little bit of cautious play there from Rush. I thought he would probably commit after the 2 Dragoons were killed off. Keep in mind that in the main, there's actually a building wall here, right by the Nexus. And so, like, it's not going to be easy at all for him to try to come in there and kill off workers. But yeah, the dropship, you know, very conservative behavior.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? I thought for sure he would have dived in by now and, like, just tried to kill what he can, but I guess he's decided to just save it for the moment.
Even in pro games on 2 base, you almost always see the dropship drop. because you just need to get damage out with the investment. But, you know, Rush, being an extremely conservative player, just backs up and says, you know, I killed those 2 Dragoons. That was something that allowed me to get closer to where he is, and he's found an opportunity. Look at this.
Yeah, and you know what, Tastosis? He should actually make a Corsair right now to chase this dropship away. I am not even kidding. I mean, we made a scout in the other game. Make a Corsair here. I think he's not going to do it.
I think the problem is that if he makes the Corsair, the carriers are later, and I think it's more important. Look, I mean, the truth is you don't actually have to take a third base that fast when you do this. In fact, it seems like one of the strong ways to play this is to basically get into carriers and you know, you notice he's not making probes, by the way, then make the gateways and basically make this kind of combo army where you kill them no matter what. So I think yeah, okay, he's going to just get the Nexus. There we go.
Yeah.
This is funny because this shouldn't be possible, but the Vulture was not there to stop him, so I guess I guess life's completely unfair.
Yeah, I know that happens sometimes, right? Like you have something there to stop that, and it's slightly out of position, so it does not stop it at all. It's unfortunate, but it's the way of things sometimes. I want to mention also, well, he's going in for another drop, but yeah, it looks like we have a cannon here, so not likely to get too much damage done. Flies right by it.
The Dragoons are going to catch this.
Yeah. 4 Zealots already, by the way, so he might be doing that same type of idea. But I did notice on the game on Eclipse, the first upgrade he got out of his forge was plasma shields. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We didn't talk about it, but yeah, he went plasma shields when he was doing the 2-base carrier. And I saw he has a forge already going, so I just wonder if he's going to go plasma shields again.
See, I always thought the play was just +1 attack, right? But I guess the plasma shields can complement both the ground army and the air army, obviously, or air fleet, before someone corrects me online. But it's it's not an air army, Tasteless.
Wow, nice job letting them control your wording, Tasteless.
I know, man. You know, I guess if you don't get Reaver Tech, you do have the extra gas to just get that shield upgrade if that's what he wants to do.
We'll see if that's where he goes with it once again. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder mathematically, is that actually the right play? And that's normally what Mini checks. But anyways, he is producing a lot of units. It does look like it's going to be a 2-base push, which is pretty normal in this type of situation against 2-base carrier. It's very hard to secure a third and then go because they are 100% maxed out with a very strong army at that point.
Right. Let me tell you, man, the ladder is going to be so much of this fast Nexus carrier stuff. I mean, it seems like, you know, maybe tonight we see Rush actually come with a solution, but this is a real threat to Terrans in the matchup, you know. I mean, Rush is coming here with these cutting-edge builds, but Mini seems pretty comfortable kind of ignoring what Rush is doing in some of these games and going straight into carriers.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that this shows Mini's style very well as well, because... Like, I remember there was, like, this quote from Snow where if you go Nexus first cross-spawn and you go into 2-base carrier, Terran doesn't really have a counter against that. It's super, super strong. I mean, Rush is macroing as good as anyone really can. He's trying to get some harassment done, and we'll see if he's able to hold it off. But, you know, this is the type of build that Mini likes to do. Like, he does stuff like this against Zerg where he's like, yes, and then I have more units than they think, and it's very hard to stop. It's like, yes, you're very right, and this is why this is your second ASL finals in a row.
Yeah. Do we have the Zealot speed being upgraded? I didn't see a Citadel, but I might have missed it.
Oh, he has to have that.
He has to have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way on 3 bases, but it's not done yet. And, you know, if the Zealot speed isn't done, the Zealots are way worse.
Yeah.
Like, the Zealot speed upgrade really is kind of the powerful upgrade that allows you to actually take a fight where Terran can lose control of the game. Now, look at how Terran is sort of, you know, moving from side to side with his army. He's a little bit afraid of counterattacks, and counterattacks are a real threat here if the Terran overextends, but he's basically shooed that away. +2 attack and +1 armor are done, and he went for that weapons upgrade, by the way, at the Forge.
Okay, I think that makes more sense as well.
I do
guess
too,
Mini
yeah.
agrees with it this game, but the Dragoon's just kind of slowing him on the side. A lot of speed Zalts are out now. That speed upgrade is done. Looks like Rush will expand to the top left, which I think is a good move. Taking your additional bases of the other mains, because this comp is not as mobile, even though it flies.
That's right. And also, it's a very high chance Protoss doesn't see that. You're kind of eyeing the obvious spots for them to expand to, but taking another main suddenly puts the carriers in a tough spot where they have to figure out how to work their way over there.
Yeah, now some of the Zealots coming down. They clear a mine, but he loses 3 or 4 Zealots there. This is a strong army out of Rush, but Mini is maxed out now.
Yeah, and Mini's going to try to come in here with almost like 360 degrees of damage, trying to hit from behind. And let's see how this goes. I mean, this is quite a bit. The targeting here from the carriers is excellent, hitting these tanks and wiping them out. But there is so much Terran right now.
Yeah, his Goliath count, though, is dwindling. So let's see if the carriers can actually finish this off. It looks like Rush does splatter those goons, try to run by now with some of these vultures, but enough Zealots catch them that they are kind of stopping their tracks. He doesn't get to kill any of the carriers here.
Yeah, the Goliath count has been replenished pretty quickly. There's no more Dragoons, as far as I can tell, in this game. Is Terran going to commit to this? Instead, Rush pulls away. He's not going to go up the ramp just yet, but this does buy Mini a little bit more time. However, the expansion at the top left is done, and the SCVs are being transferred, which is going to put Terran even on bases when compared to, the Protoss, which is a problem.
Yeah, no, if he gets that all saturated like he is right now, that's fantastic. I think he saw the transfer most likely, right? Like, we do have some observers down there, so I think he has a good idea that is occurring. Mini trying to take his 4th base up this ramp. Might be able to deny that cannon, and thus the mine can't be seen. But, right now, Mini up a good 32 supply. I think Rush has to come very close to maxing out before attacking again. Like, I don't think that you can attack in this situation until you actually have, like, 4 groups of units.
The fact that Protoss didn't get the Reaver tech does make this base at the top left like a kind of a real problem, just to be frank, for the Protoss. There's not any kind of easy way to get there. With your ground army, like, if he finds that he can send some units over there, but you're sort of not working with a lot of mobility here. And so, it's possible Mini has a very bad read on where this game is. Now, he's going to expand regardless because Mini's very good at kind of trying to tempo-wise keep his lead. But, Rush, if he just takes this top or this bottom center base and maybe one other base, then suddenly the carriers kind of lose their force. Suddenly there's too many, fires to put out in different spots on the map.
Yeah, now, we did get that plasma shields, by the way. That was the second upgrade.
That's
cool
so funny.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of damage coming out of these Goliaths. He does have 2-1 upgrades right now. We just saw a science vessel join the fray, which is actually really good for helping pick off observers as well. Oh, Mini kills it instantly. Oops. Oops.
Yeah. And he's just targeting down these tanks when he can. A little bit of miss micro here. Actually going to go for these tanks way in the back. And he's done a pretty damn good job. I only see 3 tanks now in this fight.
Yeah.
And, Dragoons do beat Goliaths.
Yeah, they really, really do. And this is why I was saying I don't think he can attack until he has, like, 4 groups of units. He attacked there at, like, 150 to 160 supply, but I honestly, like, I think against these carrier builds, you really need 180 plus to actually fight. He just didn't have the ground support there to keep his Goliaths alive. I mean, the Goliaths, he had enough to fight the carriers, but he didn't have enough ground units to clear for the Goliaths. So GG is called, and Mini goes up 3-1 on match point now.
He's so close, and it's all about this 2-base carrier tech. He can do it with Quick Nexus. He can do it with or without a Reaver. He's even done it off of, Gateway first. and he's just making it work. And if Rush can't solve this, because look, we may have many more games, Rush may start to come back, but the carriers are going to be happening again in one of our future games for sure, right? I mean, this is just seems to be Mini comfortably saying this is how you play PvT in 2021.
Yeah, no, you could be right about that. I think Rush can adjust a little bit towards beating these carrier builds, though, if he continues. The one thing that has me very scared, Tasteless, the hardest map maybe in the pool is next for Rush, Ascension. And Ascension is a map where you can't really attack until max out. It's a very good carrier map. So you're right. We might see just the same thing out of Mini again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him stopping. Now, I think we could see, one proxy build here or there thrown in or some cheese, but I think this finals is really all about that carrier tech. Guys, Ascension coming up after the short break. Don't go away as the ASL Season 12 finals continues on.
힘들어도
어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지.
오늘이 보여.
새로운 나를 만든다. 나의 레벨은 다르다. 어너더 레벨 핫6.
디자인을 하면서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 부분은 울트라 기어의 차별화된 브랜드 메시지를 잘 나타내는 것입니다. 신과 영웅들의 최강의 무기들을 검토하였습니다. 그중 니케의 승리의 날개를 모티브로 지금의 울트라 기어의 로고가 탄생하게 되었습니다. 울트라 기어의 이니셜인 U와 G를 비상하는 날개의 형상으로 레드 색상을 사용하여 강력한 에너지와 힘을 나타내었습니다. 울트라 기어는 최상의 퍼포먼스로 진정한 게임의 즐거움, 승리의 기쁨을 여러분께 선사할 것입니다.
이렇게 좋은 날엔 홈캠핑이지. 홈캠핑엔 고기, 고기엔 칠성사이다. 맛있는 자리에 빠질 수 없는 청량함. 완벽하네. 칠성사이다. 어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지. 오늘이 모여 새로운 나를 만든다. 나의 레벨은 다르다. 어너더 레벨 핫6.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
아이시스 8.0을 챙긴다는 건 건강한 생각까지 챙긴다는 것. 나를 움직이는 핑크 에너지. 아이시스 8.0.
이번 주 등산 어때? 등산.
캠핑? 그래서 주말엔 낚시?
내가 낚인 거지.
그래도 나오니까 좋잖아.
일상에서 취미까지 나누고 싶은 게 많은 요즘 시대의 커피. 칸타타.
양념 툭툭. 올리브유 또르르. 우와. 그리고 제로. 너무 좋다. 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로. 함께 모이면 홈파티. 홈파티엔 먹방. 먹방엔 칠성사이다. 맛있어. 맛있는 자리에 빠질 수 없는 청량함. 칠성사이다.
아이시스 8.0을 연다는 건 조금 이른 아침을 연다는 것. 나를 움직이는 핑크 에너지. 아이시스 8.0.
퇴근하고 뭐해?
퇴근하고?
오늘은 유셰프, 내일은 유러너, 주말엔 유목수.
그걸 다?
본캐부터 부캐까지 하고 싶은 게 많은 요즘 시대의 커피. 칸타타 콘트라베이스.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
숙취 요즘 누가 저렇게 깨니? 맨날 똑같은 거, 맛없는 거 깨. 이제 탄산으로 깨. 숙취 해소의 새로운 기준. 가스강. 환도 역시 가스강이 대세.
야채 착착, 당토 톡톡, 아보카도 슥슥, 그리고 제로. 이렇게 맛있다고? 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
새롭게 찾아온 2021 서울컵 이터널 리턴. 2017년부터 스타크래프트 리마스터, 오버워치, 배틀그라운드 등 다양한 e스포츠 종목으로 진행된 서울컵이 2021년에는 이터널 리턴으로 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 지난 2021 이터널 리턴 챌린저스 코리아의 상위권 팀들을 포함한 총 9개 팀들 중 대한민국 최강자를 가리는 듀오 모드 경쟁전은 물론 여러 유명 인플루언서들이 참가하는 즐거운 이벤트 매치까지 11월 12일부터 13일까지 서울 삼성역 아프리카TV 프리검 스튜디오에서 진행됩니다. 총 상금 1,000만 원과 함께 치열한 경쟁전, 그리고 흥미진진한 인플루언서 대전에 함께하는 2021 서울컵 이터널 리턴. 여러분의 많은 참여와 관심 부탁드립니다.
We are back, and we're ready to continue on with the ASL Season 12 Finals. This has been a roller coaster of a ride. We've had some insane and innovative strategies, but with all the creativity in Russia's builds and all the eccentricity in minis, we're still seeing this theme pan out of Protoss being able to fast expand and hypertech into carriers to the point where the Terran can't quite deal. And it's the combination of not just the carriers alone, but a healthy ground army, one that's designed to counter what is coming at them. If you overmake on tanks and Goliaths, it's going to be Zealots. If you went into tank Vulture, it's going to be Dragoons to whittle them, the Vultures down. And so, from here on out, we basically have to see Rush pull off a full reversal. Otherwise, Mini is the ASL champion.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough one. The way that this has been going, the types of games that Mini has been winning, this next map is the best for these strategies, for these quick Nexus into carrier builds. I mean, you can't really do better than Ascension. It's a very tough map for Terran versus Protoss because of that. Now, that being said, I mean, there's a lot of mind games at work here. You never know. Maybe Rush does a one-base one. Maybe Mini does that proxy gate you were talking about.
That's true. He could always, completely step outside of his play style and just do something that would throw Rush off. Rush really, he may not get to another ASL Finals for a long time or maybe even ever again. But he's gotten this far, but he needs to bring the play of his life if he's going to turn this around.
How dare you? He will be in many finals, tasteless. How dare
Guys,
you?
we're going to Ascension as the ASL Finals continues on. Mini one victory away from taking the whole thing home.
So up in 12 o'clock, we have Mini. And in that bottom left spawn, we have Rush. Now, the back of Rush's main base is pointed towards Mini, which can make shuttle play a little bit stronger. Obviously, things like carrier harass as well, if we get into that again.
He might not do carrier. I mean, it is possible. When you get a best of 7, which was actually traditionally not how many games they did for StarLeague Finals, it's quite a distance for the player that's down with only one win. It's very hard to close that out. So, there is a bit of a cushion here for Mini right now where he could try to do something counterintuitive or tricky to throw Rush off. We'll see if that happens in this game. For now, we want to see if, there's going to be minerals spent for Mini at 150 or if it's going to go up to 400 and it's going to be a Nexus.
Yeah, I wonder about that, right? He's been so much about that Nexus first last couple games, but and this is a hard map to stop that on as well. It's almost very predictable, which is why we've seen some of these game stages where Terran makes a forward barracks, right? Because many if you play this map on the ladder, you're gonna run into quite a few Nexus first, but Mini going to play around that very, very simply by just making the gateway in his main base. He's getting his gas as well. So it looks like just a standard opener, which I think is... Honestly, it feels like this is becoming more popular on the map, maybe because the rest of the architecture is good enough for Protoss that you don't want to take that early risk, right?
Yeah, I mean, as strong as this play for Mini has been, I think we'd be remiss not to point out that a large history of Fast Nexus has ended with Terrence rushing. Mm-hmm. And there was a period where Flash had said that both Gas Steel was actually not that good and could be countered, and that Fast Nexus could be countered with SCV pulls and Vulture attacks. But I think the consensus now, and Flash isn't here with us in this season, but I think the consensus has shifted a little bit that Protoss can hold it. But, Mini is capable of playing a traditional PvT like the one we're having here now. And there's still so many different variations of this build, And, he answers my question. It is going to be Zealot first, Dragoon after that. So a little bit of pressure play here. And again, he could go into a Nexus after that and then go into the quick Stargate play to Carrier.
Yeah, sure. There's no reason he can't. But also, we've been talking about those carriers so much. Now that Rush is really kind of getting used to what Mini's trying to do with that, maybe this is a game to go Arbiter or speed shuttles, right? Like, there's a big variety of play. He doesn't have to go carrier every game. And in fact, I think it's actually, even if carrier is very, very strong, I don't think it's the right thing to do it every single game.
No, I agree. I mean, it's weird to see this many games in a StarLeague Finals PvT and an Arbiter has not made an appearance yet. It's like that meme of it's like Arbiter is no longer my best friend and it's got an X over his face and now Carrier is my best friend. It is funny to have a series like this where we just don't see the traditional tech in Endgame at all so far.
Yeah. I love how young you are, Tasteless. It's awesome hearing you describe the meme to me. Thank you. But look.
Oh, my God. This is actually a lot of damage. And you know what? The probe is really what's adding the hurt in here. And, oh, my God. Is Rush just going to lose this game right away?
No, I don't... No, he should be okay. Like, the micro was slightly off from Rush. It started well, but he took some hits on the Vulture, and then he got the Zealot on top of the Marines there. Ooh, God, you do have to get this bunker up, though.
Oh my God, he's gonna get. Oh no, it's just gonna end. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I hope not. Well, he's gonna kill this one Dragoon. He'll kill the one Dragoon now. What?
Tastosis. That's a
Are you kidding me?
StarCraft 1
Kill
Dragoon.
that Dragoon! Oh. Okay. We're safe, Tasteless. The game
crazy.
goes on. That was, I think you have to look at that and say that Mini came out on top of that engagement, right? Like, that was more Marines and Vultures than Rush wanted to make right there. He definitely lost a Vulture, took a lot of damage on another, had to make a lot of Marines, had SCVs fighting. Ooh, DT! Oh my God! Is this DT drop? It is. It's DT drop.
It's DT drop. Man, the range of play here from Mini. It kind of makes sense to do this with the main being pointed at the Protoss. You know, there are variations where we see the two DTs just made and they walk across the map in an attempt to stop the push, but I think there's a lot of utility by going for the DT drop. You are sacrificing, getting observers out fast, and you're kind of, you're really putting a lot into that DT tech, but I think it does allow you to very comfortably control the game from there, especially if you're able to multitask and take care of the Dark Templars and shuttle. It does force Terran not just to turret up, but also to bank up scans because they can't take an additional base with the shuttle and the DTs in there, able to kill SCVs and whatnot.
But looking at what Rush is actually doing this game, I actually feel like this is pretty good for Rush. He has his eBay done now, and he has mines around, so he's going to see this coming. Yeah, it flies right over. So he'll just start making turrets. And these turrets will, that one's going to be ready in time. The second one might be as well. And he has some mines in his main base. I think he's totally fine here.
I think you're right. I think he's
I don't
not
think
going to
does
have
any
issue.
damage.
The mines spread out like this too. I mean, you could end up just dropping a DT.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't really have any sweet spot to hit. In fact, he might lose this shuttle. Okay, he is going to back up.
And yeah, okay, so he eats one of the mines there. Not sure if it actually connected or not.
I think it might have actually missed.
This is perfect defense. Trying to hit those mines off. Ooh, I think that one may have hit.
This is very, very.
Oh no, never mind. They're both full health. LOL. But look, this was, I think, perfect defense, right? Like, you couldn't have defended this better as Rush.
Yeah,
I'm to kill this depot.
I'm kind of marveling at the fact that Mini is somehow kind of getting away.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a sec. Oh my God, it's the double shuttle DT drop.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's going to dive on the turret. He's diving on the turret. Paceless.
And this is wild. So this is like, it's a bit all-in-ish, but the idea is that you have enough turrets to deal with one set of DTs. But if it doesn't work, you are very behind. It's actually a very cheesy early mid-game tech that is it's very punishing for the Protoss if it doesn't work. And I think in this case it basically hasn't worked.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. Like, he forced some cancels. He's getting some depots. He forced 2 factory cancels, which is really good because what you're really behind on this would be your units.
Right.
And, okay, he gets that scan off, and, oh, he better kill that. Okay.
Yeah, he can get that.
Okay, so I think after all of this, Rush has a bit of an advantage.
Oh, for sure. No, Rush is in very good shape. I don't think Mini has necessarily lost, but the price of the 2 shuttles, the fact that your observers come out a little bit later, you lost 4 DTs total. That's 400 gas. Arbiter Tech always comes after this, but Arbiter Tech is now kind of late.
But wouldn't it be funnier if he went into 2 scouts and then carriers?
That's right.
He has 2 Stargates, my friend.
Oh.
This might be carrier.
Oh,
yes,
you're right.
Carrier.
Oh, okay, so he spreads them out for the exact same reason that I just got tricked there. Is if you're to glance over into the main and see the 1 Stargate there, you just assume it's going to be Arbiter. That's this build from Protoss, you can parlay into the Arbiter Tech very comfortably. It's a little bit of a hard shift to go into the carrier tech. You kind of went into all this gas that didn't do that much.
This should not work, Tasteless.
I don't think not.
Like, Rush, I would be very surprised if he doesn't win this game. Oh my God, his Vultures end up seeing the fleet beacon.
Wow.
And he sees the probe transfer, and he gets in here and sees everything else in the whole entire world. He knows Mini's ATM PIN number right now.
He's got his social security number. He knows that, like, all this stuff about Mini, it's embarrassing. Like, Mini cheated in 6th grade in school, you know?
He knows what dreams Mini had last night.
He knows his browser history. I'm like, this is wrong. Like, you just know too much.
And honestly, with the number of factories he has and how few units Mini has, how greedy he's being after the double shuttle 4DT drop, dude, I think Rush is going to roll through him this game.
It's kind of remarkable to see Mini go for the double shuttle drop. This does actually throw Terrans off, though. The problem is if they hold it, and like if they know how to prepare for it, it usually doesn't work. But I think Mini decided that because Rush has been trying to cut a lot of corners, he might try to just come in and obliterate him with his kind of insane all-in. And look, I mean, Rush has been the honorable gamer this time. I mean, he's macroed up. He's defended what he needed to defend. I just don't even know that Mini, with his ground army alone, can really generate enough of a threat to control the Terran here. I think the Terran is going to box the Protoss across the map and come in here with a closing kill before the carriers can really play a role. Now, maybe scouts pop out, but I think there's Goliath. So, like,
Yeah, I don't think that there's too much left for him, really. Like, look at this. Rush is just coming across the map. He's pushing really quickly and really confidently, as he should. He should know that he definitely has the army advantage here. Like, this is... Oh, I like this move from Mini, though.
Yeah, this is
making it really chaotic.
The Mass Dragoon counterattack is a great way, if you're kind of trying to cheat out the carriers, that you know, you could at least control the flow of other units coming there. The Zealots and the Dragoons are going to come around here now. I don't know what on earth these tanks are doing in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I think though he like unsieged part of his tanks and then not those, so definitely a bit of a mistake. But his army's still looking very scary as he goes down towards the natural. The Zealots come out. Zealot legs done already. That's kind of crazy as well, but we'll chew through those few Zealots very, very quickly. Turrets going up.
You know, he just doesn't have enough interceptors. This is one of the funny things. It seems like, oh, the carriers are here, and then you really have to appreciate that, you know, a couple of Goliaths will just kill the interceptors, and so, oh my god, the splash damage kills the SCV.
Yeah.
As long as he makes like 4 or 5 turrets, you're basically not going to win. And, you know, there will be reinforcements eventually coming over here. Terran will eventually macro out enough to kill 8 Dragoons that are kind of containing you, so to speak.
Yeah, and as he clears that Dragoon containment, this is like the only chance for Mini to get out of here. But the tanks are already on top of his natural Nexus and one of the Stargates. Look, he's going to unpower that Stargate. Like,
hey, Mini knows. Look at Mini. He knows.
Yeah.
This is it. It's a death sentence when the Nexus is killed off.
Now, it looks like this is a very solid win here for Rush. But you know what? It was, what a cheese from Mini. I can't believe he made the second shuttle as well. Like, DT drop, okay. But the second shuttle with 2 more DTs trying to dive on turrets? Just too much.
Yeah, you know, I want to say this wasn't really a game where he defeated the carriers so much as that he stopped the DT drop, and, you know, Mini tried to double down on greed.
Did you see Mini's face there?
Yeah.
That was a face of agony that his 2 shuttle DT drop into carrier switch while taking 3 bases didn't kill Rush. It's like,
he's sitting there shaking
Mini.
his head saying, man, Goliath tank is just too hard to beat.
Yeah, when you have no units at all. Oh, man. Okay, well, not working out for Mini that time, but you got to give him the head nod towards the different strategy that he employed here on a map that, you know, frequently there are builds like we saw on the other maps from Protoss, so maybe playing some mind games there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no harm in trying to do a strategy like that. Like we said before, I mean, so much of this has been carriers, and I think, you know, with so many games where Rush just barely didn't make it, I think there is some genius behind trying to do a double shuttle DT drop, because if Rush isn't playing safe, he dies outright, but Rush held.
Yeah, very, very well done on that hold. Good thing he had his turrets up. He had the spacing of the mines and the Vulture out there that saw the shuttle incoming, so he got enough turrets started in time. Because otherwise, I mean, you can just die to that, right? You don't have enough turrets, the DTs get on top of it, that's it.
Mini over here, man, the power in his fingernails. It's like Samson's hair. He cuts those things and all the interceptors die at once, man. So we're going to go into the next game. And look, Rush has started it. The question is, can he keep it going? We're now 3-2. If Rush
this
can
is
win,
a nice close series, Tasteless. Like, we're going into Game 6, and after Game 6, you only have Game 7. So if Rush can take this on Polypoid, that is going to be very nice. Polypoid, I think, is probably the most even map overall in this pool.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very fair for both races. It does really reward turtling. But rushes are available as well. Guys, we're ready to go into Game 6 as the ASL Season 12 Finals continues on. Mini with 3 wins, Rush with 2. See what happens now as we go into that 6th game. We have audiences cheering. So happy. We finally have audiences at esports events again here. In this game, we've got Rush in the top right, Mini spawning in the top left, so they'll both be sharing the northern part of the map. Before we get too far into this game, we just want to say, guys, thank you everybody who's been supporting us on Patreon. And although we are in the finals of this ASL Season 12, we have been doing the Tastosis Secret Podcast. It's only for Patreon supporters. And we plan on continuing to do it on into the future when we're going to get into the esports off season here. So if you want to support us, patreon.com/ASL English.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, looking forward to the future as well. Hopefully we'll be getting into ASTL we'll see about that, and we'll keep you guys updated. Now, this probe coming out, Tasteless.
It's center gate.
All right, may as well.
I got a couple thoughts about this. Center gate actually, the center of this map is really weird because you actually can't build right in the center. You can build around the center, and the area where there's buildable terrain in the middle is quite a bit. So he went south of the center here because there's a 2 out of 3 chance that the Terran's down there. So he's a little bit further away, but not a huge deal. When Polypoid first came out, just like all these maps that you can build on the center, a lot of Protosses go gate right away, but it's kind of fallen out of the meta. So it's funny to see that he's actually going to do a 9-9 gate.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure he knows that Rush isn't a Zerg player.
Well, maybe if he visualizes Zerg as a Rush Rush as a Zerg player, it's gonna help him since it's his best matchup. But
this cast is breaking Tastosis' brain right now, man.
It is.
Zerg Rush. I'm one of you guys. Couple things to say. First of all, the reason why you don't see this type of rush that often against Terran is because if Terran wall at the ramp, you die. You just lose. But the reality is that a lot of Terrans don't wall in and kind of don't factor this as a possibility. And, a lot of rushes, they don't center gate rushes, they're not good on maps with these tinier ramps. It's not like a map like Circuit Breakers where the ramp's fatter. It's harder to control. Well, and you can also cannon rush after the gate, the Zealots get there. And that's sort of the killing blow, is if you can get cannons that hit the command center or the gas, the Terran just dies out.
Yeah. You basically, you can't really hold it at the ramp. You got to pull back into your SimCity. Here comes that first sell-off.
So I want to point out,
getting in.
Right now, he may, for the next second or two, assume that this is actually one gateway in the middle of the map, because that's still pretty common. But this is 2 gates. And the factory happens to be in quite an inconvenient position here. It's kind of pointed out, which means it could be a target for the rush.
His SimCity, though, is unbelievable. Look where he has that bunker going up. Like, this is one of the best SimCities I've ever seen. I think he's going to hold this, Tasteless, straight up.
I think so. I think an Angel pushed that SCV out of harm's way from the Zealot, and now the factory is finished. And, with the factory done, one of the other problem, guys, is if you do the 2-gate and the 1 Vulture comes out, the game ends. So I think Mini trying to almost break the Terran's nose before the game even starts, it's completely backfired, and I think this game is actually already over.
Yeah. It's a huge, massive, unbelievable advantage for Russia at this point. That SimCity was magnificent. Mini will wall in at the top of his ramp. This is, like, normally what you'll do if they do get the Vulture out. But, like, I mean, it's a small stopgap, right? Like, that's not going to help you to really come back into the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Zealots can basically run. He's got to be careful. The Zealots do kill workers pretty fast. But the problem is that, in a world where both sides control perfectly, these Vultures kill all these Zealots. And, Terran will just tech ahead.
Yeah, with Mini, though, like, he has the 2 gates in the center, so he's buying time with these Zealots, and he killed the gas. That was definitely very purposeful. I wonder if he's just going to go into, like, two gate range or something from here and try to make some magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that the gas was delayed means that siege mode is delayed, which means that maybe Dragoons kind of make this work, but I think that Terran can also just run down here and unpower the gateways. And, I mean, I would put this at like a 9-1 favoring here, where I think, even, someone who's not ASL level can basically beat Mini in this position. I mean, this is just almost impossible to recover from.
Totally, but he gets the Dragoon out, and that's kind of annoying. One of the Vultures very close to death now, going to have to run away. Marines coming down here as well. Range is certainly not done, so Goons without range, like 3 Marines fight a Dragoon evenly without range.
Right.
And then Vultures actually have bigger range than a Dragoon. So if you micro really heavily, you can kind of do pretty well against it. Then, of course, the tank's coming out, going to do well. I don't know what Mini's follow-up is here, but I can't think of something that's going to work.
No, man. I mean, I'm with you, Artosis. I just look at this and I have to scratch my head and basically, think, well, how do you get out of this? Now, keep in mind, a Terran misstep could allow Protoss back into this, so this has to be still respected by Rush.
Yeah, like something crazy could happen. I think he's probably getting mines here, and like a good mine drag or something, or maybe Rush tries a super heavy pressure, but Mini does nothing but make Dragoons, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, I could see Mini fighting his way back into that if Rush starts throwing units away.
So some mines are being laid here. I actually really appreciate that Rush isn't just trying to like YOLO, full on. Like he's really being very patient.
Yeah, there's no 420 no scopes going on here.
No 360 no scopes, 420 no. Oh, Artosis, you are just like a fellow kids guy, man. Like that is so funny. Now we've got the push coming out here. These are Dragoons these have range, right? Yeah, that's got range for sure. And he's basically trying to shove. He wants the Zealot to eat the damage, and oh my god, it was like that Marine caught the mine with a baseball glove or something. This is kind of crazy because Mini's fought back, and I want to remind everybody he didn't get Robo. He might have one finishing now, but he basically is playing a style where he's trying to use the mines against the Terran and slowly eat through this area and maybe even go up the ramp and take a fight. Now, I think it won't work, but let's see, man.
But that was exactly the situation that we were kind of talking about, where it's like, like if you waste your army, if he does nothing but make units, maybe you get a mine drag. And he almost got some magnificent mine drags. If he gets one good one on the Marines and tank, then that can actually be game-winning, right? Like, he might have been able to get up that ramp and finish it, but as is, looks like Rush is held, and we actually have a Nexus on the way for Mini. If he comes back and wins this game, Tasteless, that's going to be something else.
Well, I mean, it's like unheard of, man. I mean, I kind of gave up on Mini the moment I saw the Vulture come out because, this is actually, this type of game very often has been played out at all levels, and pretty much the Terran wins. If the 2-gate rush doesn't do devastating damage, like, Terran is the one that got into the tech right, but Rush being very cautious kind of let his opponent almost get an opportunity. But again, I think Rush has held. They're both expanding at the same time now, but I will tell you, the tech is far greater right now for Rush. I mean, he's got factories done. Do we have a Robo done yet? I don't think we do, actually.
No, I don't believe so. I think he's only been able to really make gateway units. Don't forget, you cut a lot of probes with a proxy 2-gate like this. Oh, he does have a Robo.
He does have
Never mind.
one.
He also has 2 Stargates. Yeah,
I'm like, here come the carriers, Artosis.
But no, Rush is taking his command center. It is a bit later than Mini's, but, I think it's all right. I think he's still in a fine position. He's got his Vultures kind of being active. He's figuring out a lot about what the tech is. And, I don't know. This game is almost reminding me a little bit of that game on Lemon between Royal and Mini, where it was like, Mini should just win from here. But we're like, Rush is really ahead after holding this proxy 2-gate, and then suddenly it's like, I don't know, what's going to happen? Like,
well, he's actually kind of quietly gone around the contain here. There was a blind spot in the setup Mini had, and there's actually a minefield behind this. So I think actually this push might just kill Mini, but this has been honestly a pretty interesting game. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What? Wait. Oh my god, wait.
Oh, I think that he holds this pretty easily on his ramp, right? Actually a little bit sloppy there. His tank's getting kind of picked off.
Dude.
The SCV's come down.
He's going to lose that tank. He needs more repairing. Dude.
Yeah, you can't repair through 2 Zealots like that.
Dude. Oh my god.
I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. So many SCVs are dying.
Oh my God. Okay, so these zealots are going to be picked off. I don't know if, okay, he is microing the Dragoons.
Ooh.
You know, you have to be microing on 2 different fronts. So there's a chance for, you know, catastrophe on one of these sides.
Yeah.
I don't know where, oh, these Dragoons, I guess, were forgotten about, but I think they were actually protecting the third base.
Okay. So, yeah, I almost forgot about that he actually made the third Nexus during all this. That sneak around move from Rush doing, like, it was so smart, but the counterattack from Mini kind of, like, almost keeping him in the game, but it looks like this one Vulture is going to get, like, 10 probe kills.
Yeah, I mean, Mini is actually so impressive, you know, in the fact that he's, like, making this a game. I mean, I honestly, I'll defend the fact that we said this is kind of over when, you know, the Vulture comes out, but the fact that Mini is, like, made this into a match, and this match is not done yet. I think that Mini is in a very difficult spot still. Now, because he doesn't have very many probes, you know, his production facilities in the middle of the map are certainly not, it's not convenient, I'll say that.
Oh, the ones with mines all around them?
Yes,
so that
the
any
ones,
units that pop out die instantly?
Right.
No, this is Rush can finish from here, right? Like there's just nothing left for Mini. He has his 3 Nexuses. His supply is doubled, and we still actually have a decent SCV count. Like his counterattack did as well as it could have, but Rush he's built upon his lead little by little, and Mini hasn't been able to really bridge that gap, I think.
Okay, he's just going to get in again. I mean, Mini's so close to just bleeding out right now. I mean, he has less than 1 probe on each mineral patch. GG, he taps out, and we're going to Game 7.
You know, this is kind of crazy. ASL 12 season finals, Rush vs. Mini, game number 7. You can see Mini getting a little bit emotional there, pulling out some very, very cheesy builds in the last 2 games, and Rush holding both of them.
This is, I think, one of the best finals I've ever casted. And I don't know who's going to take it. And you know, Mini, he completely shifted his approach in the second half in a hope to have, you know, a closer where he would catch Rush off guard. And I think it might be time to go back to carriers. I mean, it's
all right.
Not working. Rush is clearly prepared for anything and everything else. We see Mini cursing now. He probably imagined he would be holding the trophy already, probably going home already. But Rush has fought back and fought back hard. And now we go to Game 7.
Game 7. Tasteless. Who takes it, do you think?
I don't know, man. I really actually don't know.
I think emotionally, Mini is having a little bit of a hard time right now. Well, you see him throw his head around the last 2 games. I mean, his openings have been smart. His play has been strong, but Rush is getting more and more solid as the series goes on.
We're having a quick break, guys. We come back, Game 7 to close it out on Revolver.
어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지.
오늘이 보여?
새로운 나를 만든다.
나의 레벨은 다르다. 어너더 레벨 핫6.
디자인을 하면서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 부분은 울트라 기어의 차별화된 브랜드 메시지를 잘 나타내는 것입니다. 신과 영웅들의 최강의 무기들을 검토하였습니다. 그중 니케의 승리의 날개를 모티브로 지금의 울트라 기어의 로고가 탄생하게 되었습니다. 울트라 기어의 이니셜인 U와 G를 비상하는 날개의 형상으로 레드 색상을 사용하여 강력한 에너지와 힘을 나타내었습니다. 울트라 기어는 최상의 퍼포먼스로 진정한 게임의 즐거움, 승리의 기쁨을 여러분께 선사할 것입니다.
이렇게 좋은 날엔 홈캠핑이지. 홈캠핑엔 고기, 고기엔 칠성사이다. 맛있는 자리에 빠질 수 없는 청량함. 완벽하네. 칠성사이다.
어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지. 오늘이 모여 새로운 날을 만든다. 나의 레벨은 다르다. 어나더 레벨 핫식스.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
아이시스 8.0을 챙긴다는 건 건강한 생각까지 챙긴다는 것. 나를 움직이는 핑크 에너지. 아이시스 8.0.
이번 주 등산 어때? 등산.
캠핑? 그래서 주말엔 낚시?
내가 낚인 거지.
그래도 나오니까 좋잖아.
일상에서 취미까지 나누고 싶은 게 많은 요즘 시대의 커피. 칸타타.
양념 툭툭, 올리브유 또르르. 우와, 그리고 제로. 너무 좋다. 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로. 함께 모이면 홈파티. 홈파티엔 먹방. 먹방엔 칠성사이다. 맛있어. 맛있는 자리에 빠질 수 없는 청량함. 칠성사이다.
아이시스 8.0을 연다는 건 조금 이른 아침을 연다는 것. 나를 움직이는 핑크 에너지. 아이시스 8.0.
퇴근하고 뭐해?
퇴근하고?
오늘은 유셰프, 내일은 유러너, 주말은 유목수.
그걸 다?
본캐부터 부캐까지 하고 싶은 게 많은 요즘 시대의 커피. 칸타타 콘트라베이스.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
숙취 요즘 누가 저렇게 깨니? 맨날 똑같은 거, 맛없는 거 깨. 이제 탄산으로 깨. 숙취 해소의 새로운 기준. 가스강. 환도 역시 가스강이 대세.
야채 착착, 당토 톡톡, 아보카도 슥슥. 그리고 제로. 이렇게 맛있다고? 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
새롭게 찾아온 2021 서울컵 이터널 리턴. 2017년부터 스타크래프트 리마스터, 오버워치, 배틀그라운드 등 다양한 e스포츠 종목으로 진행된 서울컵이 2021년에는 이터널 리턴으로 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 지난 2021 이터널 리턴 챌린저스 코리아의 상위권 팀들을 포함한 총 9개 팀들 중 대한민국 최강자를 가리는 듀오 모드 경쟁전은 물론 여러 유명 인플루언서들이 참가하는 즐거운 이벤트 매치까지 11월 12일부터 13일까지 서울 삼성역 아프리카TV 프리검 스튜디오에서 진행됩니다. 총 상금 1,000만 원과 함께 치열한 경쟁전, 그리고 흥미진진한 인플루언서 대전에 함께하는 2021 서울컵 이터널 리턴. 여러분의 많은 참여와 관심 부탁드립니다.
We're tied up 3-3, and now we settle it with our final 7th game. Either Rush or Mini is going to win 4-3. And honestly, guys, one of the best, funnest finals I've casted. Both seasons of ASL this year have been incredible.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Mini has been a big part of both of them. Once again, finding himself in game number 7. Is he going to be able to close this out, though? Rush on a minor winning streak here. 2 in a row. Eating his chocolate, getting ready for game number 7, the most important game of his life right now. Mini, I was talking about this like during the 3rd place match and during the round of 4. If he loses here, Tastosis, that's 3 second places. That's where we start to hit the Kong line. That's where it starts to mentally screw with you. I think Mini, if he's going to win as many championships as I think he's capable of, he needs to win here now against Rush.
He needs to break what is becoming, frankly, a curse. Rush knows. You know, look, it looked hopeless for Rush a few games ago, honestly. But Mini elected to do these very explosive strats, these strats that are engineered to basically come in with almost near-fatal blows, whether that be the double shuttle DT drop in the early mid-game, or right out the bat, 2 center gates. and trying to kill the SCVs making the factory. But Mini, look, he's got a game. He could go back into carriers. He could try to do something completely different. I don't know. We're going to find out as we are ready for our final game, guys. The winner of this next one is the ASL Season 12 champion.
In the bottom right, first player, it's Mini. And in the bottom left, it's Rush. Now, the very first thing I have got to point out here, Tasteless, right? This map is kind of wonky with its little ramp with the eggs on it going up into your natural, but you have this bigger, wide opening on the side. So this map in particular, if you are in cross spawns, it's 1,000 times easier to try to punish a Nexus first than in vertical spawns, right? Because normally it's close spawns that you do that in. So I want to throw that. That's the first thing I always look at here, right? Because you can go in through the wide side rather than up through a tiny ramp.
Right.
So just want to keep that in mind.
We've talked about how Nexus 12 it can be strong if you're not in spawns like this because the eggs are a little bit buggy and it's kind of hard to fight up them. That being said, Rush does not seem to like to go for kill moves against Nexus 12 as it is. Although I think he could on this spot. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's funny that you call it Nexus 12, by the way. You've become quite Korean. But we call it 12 Nexus, where I'm from, Tasteless, the great state of New Hampshire, where we call it 12 Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect here, but if I had to guess, if I had to bet, I would say that we're going to see the carrier build. Clearly, the Nexus is already inbound here as we get to 400 minerals.
Oh, my God.
And before this game picks up, I just want to say, first of all, this has been an amazing year, guys. This finals has just been so fun to cast. This is actually my last cast of the year. I'm going to be flying to America shortly after this recording. So I won't be doing Super Tournament, although I do check that out with Tastosis. And I'll be streaming a bunch when I'm in the U.S. All my friends are working during the day, so join me there.
Oh, Tasteless. This is kind of crazy. One thing I want to mention is that Rush went for an 11 gas here. So his factory is going to be a bit quicker than you're used to. See, this is about 10 seconds faster. You do it before that second depot when you go for that 11 gas. Now he's just now scouting. Out comes the SCV. Hasn't built a Marine as of yet. I don't know what his plan is exactly, but he's, it's not like he has extra SCVs on gas or anything. He's going to be scouting this Nexus first very, very late, and it's a 2-gate Nexus first, so it's not like a greedy one out of Mint.
Yeah, so the 2-gate is really the first iteration of modern Nexus first. And it can or cannot be made with 2 Zealots coming out. And so if you make it with 2 Zealots coming out, you can actually hold a lot of different rushes from Terran. Although maybe not in this spot. This is very close rush distances. If you don't, you are probably make the 2 Zealots. You in these spawns specifically, you probably lose the Nexus, but sometimes Protoss can try to play around that by giving the Nexus up and maybe the Terran overextends. But this game's not going to be one of those because we see the command center starting right now.
Yeah, it's a very late scout that we see, and he's going to get in here, see that it's a Nexus first. So, I mean, it's a little bit annoying. The probe actually sees the Vulture coming out from the side. And like you said, it's not like Rush was planning to do any sort of bust anyways, so I guess he's ready for this in a different way. The Vulture coming up. There's no Dragoon down yet. Look at this. Great micro on this cell. He's trying to hold this Vulture back a little bit because he knows just how many probes he could lose if he gets in there too quick.
Big kill there to take out that Zealot. And this is going to be the drop variation. So he's going to have something to come out here and hit this Now, I mean, you can kind of, to be honest, like it's not the most surprising thing in the world for the Protoss, who doesn't get observers out right away, to have a drop come in the base. So, you know, obviously Protoss doesn't know this is coming, but you kind of suspect this is one of the maneuvers that Terran might try to pull off.
Oh my God, look
oh
at
my
this
God.
blocking right there. Beautifully done. Gets a lot of damage down. At least the shield's gone on these units. Gonna bring everything out of that bunker. Brings the Vulture as well. Uh-oh. Second Dragoon coming in.
Whoa.
This is getting a little bit rough. He's got to block these from going up the ramp, and block them he does. The other Vulture coming back right now. More Marines and Vultures coming down. Let's see if he can continue to hold on. Targets down that mine, but some great drilling here, and down goes the Dragoon. A perfect hold from Rush.
Doesn't even have to use the mines, so he'll be safe from a counterattack if that does happen. I think there's 2 Dragoons, actually. Yeah. So these mines are actually going to keep him safe as well.
Yeah, maybe he can pressure the bunker, but honestly, there's enough mines out that, like, you're not really afraid here.
No, I think he can't get in there anymore. And, I mean, it's a pretty good start for Rush. And you are uncomfortably close sharing the bottom here. So, I mean, he can at least try to chip away at this bunker. I think it's not a bad idea. You could see, you know, drop preemption, like putting pylons down here to spot. And it's going to be, looks like 3 Vultures. Oh, actually, there's a 4th one down here that's going to be, you know, angled. Oh, okay. Angled to come into the main.
Yeah, I love the SimCity that he has. He actually has Dragoons to the north trying to block. And he is going to see this coming in. So as long as he actually spots this and moves those Dragoons. Oh, okay, just now starting to move them. He does have that great SimCity once again. Do we have the speed upgrade done? I'm not entirely sure. Yes, we do. He runs in right now, starts laying some mines. Let's see how many probes he can end up getting.
Yeah, I mean, the Vultures are in there, but the kills are not actually that high.
Yeah.
And I got to say, this is basically a hold. I mean, oh my God. I can't believe that didn't get hit by anything. That's so crazy.
That is the floor is lava right there. Like, that Dragoon cannot move from that spot.
Yeah. I mean, that was just so funny because I was so confident that was going to take damage. We do have the Stargate coming, so, I mean, this is going to be yet another game where carrier tech is what is the plan to win here for Protoss. Now, the dropship is still in the game. It wasn't killed off. It did take some damage. It could be repaired pretty quickly. But I don't think future drops are going to have the kind of impact that you know, you can have at the start of a game. And frankly, the drop in this game didn't really hurt the Protoss that much. We killed a couple of probes, but I don't even know if it killed more probes than the price of the Vultures.
Yeah, I think even if it didn't kill that many, it's still, like, worth it to do. Those Vultures don't really scale, so anything you can get, like, if you can just bring the probe count a little bit closer to SCV count, you're pretty happy.
And you know, it's a good scout, too. You can get in there and see what's going on, you know.
I got to say, I mean, the carrier follow-up, is this going to be the move? Because Rush hasn't been, like, going very quickly into third bases. I think he's going to be able to figure out what's going on relatively quickly. Server flies in just before the turret finishes. Going to get right into that main base. We don't see an academy yet, so, I mean, that's a long ways out before he's going to get confirmation on a carrier build.
I think at this point in time, he's probably playing like it's going to be the carrier build, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, like, maybe, yeah.
I think on some level, you just look at this game and, I mean, I just assumed it was going to be carriers no matter what. You know, after losing the last 2 games, you know, 2 gate and then TT drop and just Minis very much so completely outperforming when he does the carrier build. I mean, he's clearly the best at this in the entire world. And even if Mini loses this series and gets second place in ASL, I do think this does leave some big question marks for Terran players about, you know, how exactly to try to fight that Nexus first two base carrier, because it still, I think, came off as the strongest point in the series.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. That's for sure. He's really been dominating in those games. So, I mean, a lot of mines being laid around. He is going up to 5 factories very quickly, just 1 add-on. The Observer keeping a really good tab in the main base on exactly what's being produced, how many add-ons, that type of thing. But again, we don't... Okay, there's the Academy finally, right? And that's kind of what I've been waiting for, because that's, well, I guess this dropship actually is going to be what gets confirmation, now that I say that.
I was wondering if you can drop behind. I guess you can't actually put vultures up there and hit the workers from the high ground. But he's... Oh, my God. He just decides to commit.
Yeah, I think he's going to get away.
Yep.
So
I mean, that sucks, though.
Unfortunate, but and he even saw the first carrier pop out, so now he has an exact timing on carrier counts and everything. So that, like, it wasn't completely in vain.
Yeah, but it's pretty bad, man. Like, I mean,
it's not good.
Things are ramping up for Protoss, right? I mean, this was basically a game where the drop was not that impactful, didn't do that much. I mean, Mini did have a bit of a duel there at the early part of the game, but things are starting to form together right now for Mini. I mean, he's really cranking out these other two carriers. He's going to be up to 4 in a little bit. I would have to imagine he has a Citadel now. He's going to be making pretty much only Zealots. By the way, 7 gateways in his main as the third Nexus is warping in.
What do you think about that third Nexus placement? Not really where I would have expected.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring that up, actually. I don't know how to feel about this exactly. It almost seems like it's... I don't know, man. I guess part of this is that, you know, Terran can't really expand to the bottom right base on their side that easily. But it might also be that Mini just knows he has to get a third base up quickly. I mean, you're kind of winning these games on the terms of you have the kind of tech that can stop their tech if they get off balance. And so maybe it's more important to just get a third base up no matter what than to try to play, you know, super safe and take that 3 o'clock base where there's already a mine. I mean, you can see that that's really where Rush is anticipating movement.
Oh, totally. I got to agree with what you say there. Like, just getting it up in general is going to be a powerful move. But is he going to be able to actually hold on against this army? We do have 7 factories for Rush against the 7-gate, 2 Stargate here from Mini, right? Now, here we go. Busting down the eggs. Definitely getting ready for this move out.
Yeah, and you take anything you can get here.
Ooh.
And actually, you know, having a tank sticking out like that, that's a pretty big kill. You know, take that out, run away, manufacture more interceptors. And we're getting to a boiling point here, but I guess our question about the location of this third base is about to be answered, Tastosis, because this third base now has a bullseye on its back. I mean, all he has to do is go down this divot, and there it is, you know, a location that is essential for the economy. And I think I see why he takes it, because he wants to counterattack.
But you can't counterattack up that little egg bridge. Oh, no. Rush coming down the ramp right there. His Goliath's all in the front. Oh, but the Zealots do end up turning around. I felt like that could have been a good time to try to reduce the Goliath count dramatically, but Mini thinks otherwise. Pulls back for now. Going to try to take this high ground ridge at least.
Well, he's buying time. Terran has to relocate.
Is,
you know, air weapons is going to finish. You know, that upgrade's going to finish at the core soon. And I guess also positionally, he can kind of move the carriers over this little fixture right at the bottom center of the map. And it's kind of a safe area where the carriers can escape to. And I think he's actually going to set up for another counterattack. Oh, no, he's going to come back. Excuse me.
Well, he's going to be mostly high ground here. The siege tank count not really that high, but the Zealot's getting a little bit clumped up. The Vulture's doing some good work here. And the Goliaths...
Well, there's only 3 tanks left here.
A little bit.
But he does escape with all of his Dragoons. The carriers are, of course, still intact and now numbering 6. And one has to imagine, yeah, there they are. More Zealots are here to come.
Oh, he's got to get his own rallies over here, Tasteless. We do have some units coming from the other direction, but the Zealots getting on top of everything, trying to target down the Dragoons here as more Vultures come up with these Goliaths.
And he's taken out that last tank that was over there. There's one just to the north here, but not in a very good position. And, I mean, the carriers can still fight. You know, he's going to kill off this cannon, but I think these carriers can basically kill the Goliath. Still number 6. Interestingly enough, he targets down that one Vulture because he knows his next wave of Zealots is going to be here. And I think narrowly, we've just seen Mini survive that push.
Yeah. It felt like the rallies were not coming in quickly enough here for Rush. Ends up losing that army, and now we have Mini with the supply advantage, continuing to produce. A lot of carriers are out. Rush in some trouble.
Some vultures come down to kill some probes. It does take out a couple, but certainly not enough to put Rush into a comfortable position.
No, this looks pretty bad for Rush right now.
Yeah, it does.
Like, his army is just not very large. Look at how low his gas count is. You really do have to remake the siege tanks. That's a very important aspect of this, or you can't beat the ground army.
Yeah, and you know, when you stop the first attack, it can become easier to then stop the next one. I mean, you can see now Mini's branching out on the map with his Dragoons and picking off mines and everything else. And you know, from here he can take pot shots into the main. He can force more turrets to be built down here, and he kind of traps the Terran into this bottom left quadrant where, you know, if you leave with all the Goliaths, the carriers just go into the main and kill, you know, depots, SCVs, armories even. And, you know, from the Protoss side of things, you can probably continue to grow as long as you have good Dragoon coverage. You can go up into the center right, the top right main. And I think Rush is now in a very difficult position where he's basically pinned in his base. Growth isn't really an option. I know there's a command center. I think it's done at 9 o'clock, but I don't know how safe that really is.
Yeah,
oh my
in
God.
fact, he's coming in for a kill move right now. A lot of Zealots and Dragoons joining the fray. The Goliaths doing their best here to try to hold off the advances of Mini, but I think Rush knows that the writing is on the wall here in game number 7. His supply dwindling, so few units left over as the Dragoons in an arc outside this command center just adding to the damage.
I think this is going to be the beginning of the end here for Rush. I mean, the Dragoons can keep pressing forward right now. Again, a very healthy economy here for Mini behind this. As the tanks siege up, I think he's going to back out, but I don't think that Mini even has to give up on this position. Oh my God, and the SCV making that command center was killed. That's it. GG. Mini's done it. He is the ASL Season 12 champion, breaking the curse of getting second place from before.
Amazingly done. His third try, and it is a charm. He is now a champion. And really well-deserved, I have to say. Mini, head and shoulders above the other Protoss players here in ASL this season and last. Very, very happy for him, but Rush put up a great fight here as well. An amazing back-and-forth finals, but at the end of the day, Mini, with his 2 base carrier builds, does come out victorious.
And, I mean, beyond the carriers, he showed really so much prep, so many cool ideas. You know, the double shuttle drop, not particularly common in the meta. I think the 2-gate in the center showed a lot of boldness as well. And he did a lot of different variations of this carrier tech to make it work, including using scouts to stop, you know, the hard counter Rush on Eclipse to just build out turrets and end the game before it starts for the Protoss. He did something incredibly original, and it's something that will go down in the history books in StarCraft for the rest of time.
No, certainly you're right about that. Here's our champion, Mini. Let's hear from him.
(2010년) 드래프트로 출발해서요, 무려 ASL 우승까지 걸리는 시간이요 11년, 12년의 도전 끝에 당당히 팬분들 앞에서 변현재는 우승자다 알릴 수 있는 기회가 주어졌습니다. 드디어 우승을 차지했거든요. 소감 들어볼게요.
와, 일단 너무 많은 도전 끝에 우승해가지고 너무 기분 좋고, 이제 다음 시즌도 이제 더 열심히 해가지고 더 좋은 선수가 되도록 하겠습니다.
그동안 너무 힘들었죠. 여기 ASL 우승 차지하는 그 과정들, 주변에서는 가족들과 팬분들이 변현재 이번에 우승해야 된다 그런 압박감까지 이겨내면서 드디어 좀 우승을 차지하게 됐는데요. 아, 이제 팬분들에게 당당하게 이야기할 수 있겠네요. 변현재는 우승했다. 항상 뒤에서 묵묵히 10년 넘는 기간 동안에 응원해 주시고 그리고 항상 힘이 돼 주시고 그리고 또 찾아와 주신 팬분들에게 감사 인사 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 일단 많은 분들이 좀 응원해 주셔가지고 이번 시즌 좀 더 좋았던 것 같고 이제 팬분들이 이제 가을의 계절이라고 꼭 토스가 우승해야 된다고 계속 말을 해줬거든요. 근데 이제 좀 가을의 계절이다 보니 이제 좀 운도 좋고 좀 게임이 좀 잘 풀렸던 것 같아요. 그리고 이제 좀 연습을 도와준 이제 영재 형이랑 기석이 형 그리고 재호 형, 지성이 그리고 이제 경기 전까지 손풀게 도와준 진목이 형 너무 고맙고 그리고 이제 부모님도 이제 경기 끝날 때마다 수고했다고 맨날 연락을 오거든요. 그래서 고맙고 이제 제가 원주에 올해 이사했는데 올해 뭔가 다 잘 풀린 것 같아요. 이제 저번 시즌도 준우승하고 이제 멸망전도 우승을 하고 이번 시즌도 우승을 하게 됐는데 이제 여자친구가 좀 많이 챙겨줘가지고 또 우승할 수 있었던 것 같고 이제 많은 팬분들이 이제 경기장에 오신 분들이랑 이제 지켜보시는 분들 다 이제 너무 감사하고 이제 다음 시즌 더 좋은 모습으로 보답할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
이제는 이렇게 많은 분들이 환호성 보내주시고 응원해 주시고 힘이 돼주고 계시거든요. 이제는 전설로 자리매김해야죠. 다음 시즌에도 다시 한번 우승을 차지하는 모습 보여주면은 그게 바로 기록이거든요. 프로토스 최강조로서 앞으로 대회 다음 대회 계획 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
일단은 이제 드디어 우승했기 때문에 이제 다음 시즌도 좀 잘 풀릴 수 있을 것 같고 이제 목표를 이제 우승을 3번 해가지고 꼭 배지를 주더라고요. 우승 3번 하면. 그래서 이제 배지를 꼭 받을 수 있도록 최선을 다하겠습니다.
네, 거기다가 아까 그 누님이었나요? 지금 이렇게 치어풀로 직접 응원까지 해줬거든요.
네.
예, 콩콩콩콩은 안 된다고, 사콩은 안 된다고. 분명히 그게 좀 큰 힘이 됐을 것 같은데요.
저 많은 분들이 이제 여자친구뿐만 아니라 이제 많은 분들이 전부 다 이제 4번 준우승은 아니라고 이제 저도 4번 준우승하게 되면 좀 많이 좌절할 것 같았는데 이제 좀 우승했기 때문에 더 힘내서 더 열심히 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
네, 다시 한번 축하드리고요. 더 멋진 경기로 팬분들에게 보답해 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다. 다시 한번 변현재 선수의 뜨거운 박수를 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 잠시 자리해 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다. 자, 이렇게 정말 멋진 결승전 대결이 마무리가 됐습니다. 오늘 이 무대 최고의 자리에 올라선 변현재 선수뿐만 아니라 묵묵히 ASL을 위해서 노력을 많이 해준 이번 준우승을 차지한 유영진 선수 그리고 4강, 8강 그리고 24강에서 계속 도전해준 선수 여러분께 다시 한번 진심으로 깊은 감사 말씀드리면서 이제 준우승 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 지치지 않은 청춘과 열정, 젊음을 대표하는 에너지 드링크 카식스와 퍼포먼스를 앞서가다 LG 울트라 기어와 함께한 ASL 먼저 준우승 부분의 시상을 이어가도록 하겠습니다. 준우승 부분 시상에는요 아프리카TV e스포츠 앤 게임 콘텐츠 사업 부분의 최정원 부문장님께서 수고를 해주시겠습니다. 무대로 모시겠습니다. ASL 시즌12 정말 많은 노력을 한 선수죠. 12,000경기 정말 끝까지 어금니 꽉 깨물면서 멋진 승부를 만들어준 이번 시즌 최고의 테란을 불러보도록 하겠습니다. 준우승을 차지한 선수는요 테란 러쉬 유영진. 다시 한번 축하드리고요. 이번 시즌 그 근성 있는 경기로 많은 시청자분들과 팬분들에게 감동을 선사했습니다. 유영진 선수의 그 정신을 많은 선수들이 보고 배우면서 노력하고 있고 그 결과 ASL이 더욱더 풍성해지고 멋진 경기를 펼칠 수 있는 꿈의 무대로 자리매김을 해주고 있습니다. 다시 한번 노력해준 유영진 선수의 깊은 감사의 말씀드리고요. 최정원 부문장님께도 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 고맙습니다. 네, 다시 한번 감사드립니다. 자리해 주시고요. 이어서 우승자 시상이 있겠습니다. 항상 ASL을 위해서 많은 노력을 해주시고 또 선수들에게 이렇게 멋진 무대에서 경기를 펼칠 수 있는 그 기회를 만들어주시는데 많은 노력을 해주신 아프리카TV 서수길 대표이사님을 무대로 모시겠습니다. 네, 안녕하세요. 진짜 이번 시즌은요 정말 끝까지 포기하지 않고 노력한 선수들의 꿈의 무대, 정말 멋진 경기가 이번 결승전 무대까지 나왔습니다. 이번 시즌 함께 하시면서 어떠셨는지 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
네, 저도 저 뒤에서 조용히 보고 있었는데 아까 현재가 그 전기 의자 표정이 나왔을 때 굉장히 불안했는데 유영진의 그 3세트 경기는 정말 역대급 너무 감동이었고 역시 아빠는 강하다. 정말 감동이었습니다. 미리 좀 그 규제가 풀려서 알았으면 결승전 경기장을 따로 이렇게 준비를 했을 텐데 갑자기 이렇게 돼서 60분밖에 못 모셔서 너무 죄송하고 다음 시즌 13은 아마 크게 할 수 있겠죠. 네, 여러분의 응원과 여러분의 응원과 사랑이 있으면 계속 더 크게 그래서 아마도 시즌 13 2022년이 될 것 같은데 그래서 제가 언급을 안 할 수가 없죠. 뭐니 해도 ASL 에너지 음료 핫식스 LG 게이밍 모니터보 울트라 기어 여러분 많이 사랑해 주셔야 우리 ASL이 더 응하고 우리 선수들 BJ들 또 여러분과 함께 더 성장할 수 있습니다. ASL은 여러분과 함께 계속 스타와 함께 계속하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 다시 한번 감사드리겠습니다. 고맙습니다. 핫식스와 LG 울트라 기어가 함께한 ASL 시즌12 대망의 우승자 시상이 있겠습니다. 3번 만에 도전 끝에 드디어 우승을 차지한 선수죠. 가을에 가장 잘 어울리는 선수 프로토스 미니 변현재. 그동안의 노력 2009년 드래프트된 이후 끝까지 도전하고 또 도전하고 또 도전하면서 기술을 갈고 닦았습니다. 그리고 이번 시즌 드디어 우승을 차지한 변현재 선수의 이야기를 했죠. 이제 시작이고.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm so happy, man. I got emotional watching Minnie's speech, and he's been, trying so hard, man, to get to this far, to overcome that hump and actually not get second place again. He did it, and he did it on his own terms, and he's changed the way that we look at Protoss, I think, forever now.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I think it's something like 13 years since his first appearance in a StarLeague. He's finally a champion. Congrats to him. Let's hear some more.
그 결과 수많은 팬분들이 ASL을 주목해 주시고 더 힘이 돼 주시고 개인 방송까지 찾아와서 응원을 해 주신다고 생각을 합니다. 앞으로도 멋진 모습 부탁드리고요. 다시 한번 이 자리를 빌어서 감사하다는 말씀 드리겠습니다. 그리고 이렇게 멋진 무대를 준비해 준 저희 스태프와 그 선수들의 관리까지 항상 힘을 써주는 e스포츠 팀 그리고 함께 노력해준 중계진께 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 드리고요. 한 2년 3년 만에 여러분들과 함께 하니까요 굉장히 좋은 시간이었고 앞으로 이번 시즌 이후에도 더 많은 분들이 찾아올 수 있도록 더욱더 노력하도록 하겠습니다. 저는 여기서 인사드리고요. 오늘 마지막은 변현재 선수의 트로피 세레머니로 피날레를 장식하도록 하겠습니다. 함께 해준 여러분 진심으로 고맙습니다.
All right, guys, that just about does it for us for ASL Season 12. Thank you again to everyone who has supported us on the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English.
Guys, we love you. You're amazing. Congratulations to Minnie. Honestly, this was my favorite year of ASL yet. Brood War keeps being interesting, man. We keep learning more stuff about this game. I'm curious to see how Minnie is going to perform next year. Let's not forget how dominant Queen was, and of course Flash before that. But I think we've got a bright future ahead of us. We'll keep updating the podcast for Patreon supporters. We're going to be entering the off-season coming up here for esports. We're going to be back with a vengeance next year. Any closing thoughts, Tastosis?
No, just thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, we'll see you for the next Brood War event.
We love you guys. Take care and good night.
끝나